Welcome to the Kai Chevytown pregame show. I'm Carly Murata, your host, as we get set for the 86th meeting between the UW-La Crosse Eagles and the UW-Eau Claire Blugolds. To start, let's take a look at the WXOW standings. UW Whitewater sits atop with an undefeated record. Then it's UW-La Crosse, and this is a huge game for them as they look to secure sole possession of second place in the conference, which would be their best finish in the conference since 2006. As for UW-Eau Claire, they are in a four-way tie for fourth place with a 2-4 record in conference play. The Eagles' playoff chances seem virtually gone after they lost at Oshkosh 3 weeks ago. But thanks to a whirlwind Saturday across the nation last week, the door is open for playoff football to return to La Crosse. First and foremost, they need to beat Eau Claire today. Then they need to hope for some upsets elsewhere. So it's not a win and you're in scenario. It's more like a win and we'll see, which gives the Eagles a big jolt of energy heading into this game.
Win and you still have a chance, and if some other things happen around the country, then our chances increase. But by just winning, we're still going to be in a pretty good position to get that last at-large bid. That adds more importance to the football game, and it still is a way that we're chasing some of our goals that we set out before the season started.
We have been trying to do this for the past, 2-3 years. Obviously, I mean, I've been here the last 2 years, and that's been the goal that's been preached to us ever since I got here. And the fact that we're sitting in this situation right now is pretty surreal.
The Eagles sitting in second place by themselves in the WXOW. The last time these two teams played at Carson Park in 2016, the Blugolds came away with a 20-14 win. It was the second victory of the Dan Larson era as they finished that season 2-8. Well, fast forward to 2018, and Eau Claire brings arguably their most talented team to this matchup in years. Also on the line, a chance to finish the season 500 and carry some big-time momentum into the offseason. The Blugolds have shown the ability to play with anyone in the WXOW, and they're excited to get their shot at UW-Eau.
To play in this game was a pretty cool deal as a player. To coaching, I think, has been equally as rewarding and incredibly fun, just because it's a different type of challenge.
It's an awesome way to go out for a senior season. It's a rival right down the state road, and it's be a big game, televised, and yeah, it'll be good. It's another Saturday, go and beat a WXOW opponent.
Although the Blugolds are 2-4 in the WXOW Conference, the Eagles are not taking this team lightly. As you just heard, they have a lot of momentum heading into this game, having won 2 of their last 3 games. UW-La Crosse is 3-2 at home this season. They're 5-0 this year when scoring first. However, in order to get that offense rolling, the key for the Eagles is to avoid 3-and-outs and to be patient offensively.
They incredibly pressure the quarterback and put a lot of emphasis on that. So do we. And so for us, it's going to be getting the ball out in time for Ben, making the right reads, but we have to have an established run game in order to do a lot of that stuff. So we got to find a way to run the football, and they're incredibly patient on offense, and we got to be incredibly aggressive on defense.
We're so quick with our drives, whether that's 3 plays and a score or 3 plays and we're off the field and our defense is back on. And our defense has been awesome picking us up there. But as an offense, we need to be able to sustain longer drives, and I think that's going to be a huge key because Eau Claire's time of possession with the ball is so monumental.
Coming up after the break, we head to Carson Park and check in with our game callers, Scott Emmerich and Stephen Kelly. That's next. Welcome back to the Kai Chevytown pregame show as we get ready for kickoff between UW-La Crosse and UW-Eau Claire. And now we head out to Carson Park and we welcome in News 19's Scott Emmerich.
Well, it certainly might be the
News
season
18's
finale
Stephen
for both
Kelly,
of these
who
teams.
are calling the game
But that
for us
doesn't mean
today.
that there's not plenty.
Thank you both for joining us. We'll send it down to you now.
All right. Well, it might be the season finale for both these teams, but that does not mean that there's not plenty to play for both squads.
That's right, Steven. The Eagles come in here with a 6-3 record. They've clinched second place in the WXOW and back-to-back winning seasons for the first time since 2006 and 2007. And they also have an outside shot at a playoff berth. If they can win here today, they need some things to happen in other parts of the nation as well. Let's take a look at some of the key players we'll be watching for you tonight. First of all, for UWL, it starts with senior quarterback Ben Schramsky. Schramsky leads the WXOW in touchdown passes with 20. He's also a threat to run. He has 5 touchdowns rushing as well this season. And defensively, much like Eau Claire, the Eagles really get after the passer. Ryan Flathers is second in the league in sacks with 8.5. 14 different players have registered a sack on that Eagle defense. So they come from all corners. And as I mentioned, trying to clinch second place in the WIAC, that would also be something to hang their hat on for Mike Schmidt and his Eagles program. As you know, just a few years ago, they were in some trouble, but Mike Schmidt now 5-5, 8-2 last year, 6-3 entering this one.
Yeah, and you talk about the Blugolds. Obviously, this has been a rebuilding process, but already this season, they have matched their win total for the last 4 seasons combined. So plenty to hang their hat on. And Coach Dan Larson told me before this game that they're treating this one as if it was the start of the 2019 season. Once this game gets going, you're going to see a lot of the same names pop up, and it's going to start at the quarterback position with Scott Proctor. Not only what he does with his arm, but also what he can do with his leg. They hope to get him a couple of design runs in this game. Larson says that will be a focus. Blugolds hope to control the clock, and that's going to start with senior running back Brian Kulagi. He leads the team this season with 775 yards. On the outside, UWEC's big play threat is LaShawn Evans. He leads the team in catches, yards, and touchdowns. And on the defensive side, you talked about getting after the ball. Watch out for number 32, Sam Romanski. He leads all the WIAC in sacks with 13, also leads the Blugolds with 51 tackles. So you're going to see a lot of playmakers out here today. Nice cold conditions, but it should be a lot of fun.
It's 22 degrees here in Eau Claire. One thing that is good, though, Stephen, not a lot of wind. And so
Yes.
I think that'll help a passing game. One thing when you talk about cold weather, quarterbacks usually worry about the wind. Very light breeze here today, so that will help.
Absolutely, and we watched the kicking game before. Both kickers look like they have about their normal range, so we're looking forward to a good contest here. It's going to be coming up in just a few minutes, but for now, we're going to send you to break.
Welcome back. Overall, the Eagles lead the series with the Blugolds with a 55-28-2 record. Last season, these two teams met in Week 5, just the second conference game of the year. The Eagles entered this matchup with a 4-0 overall record. The Blugolds were 1-3 overall. Eau Claire was forced to punt on its own 8-yard line when UWL's Cole Speaker blocked the punt, recovered the fumble in the end zone for the first score of the game. Blocked kick should be Speaker's middle name. Later in the quarter, the Blugolds' Matt Herring fumbled, and it's Zachary Zilmer with the recovery on the 30-yard line. Now, these two players graduated, but what an impact they made. Tarek Yegi to Nick Holcomb for the 27-yard touchdown. The Eagles are out to a 14-0 lead. Now on the next play in scrimmage, it's Luke Winnan intercepting JT Den Hartog's pass. He returns this one 28 yards for the score. The Eagles are out to a quick 21-0 lead. Second quarter now. The Eagles drove the field 95 yards for Yagi to finish off the drive, hitting Speaker, 20-yard TD. It's 31-zip UW-La Crosse. Now moving to the third quarter, Blugolds trailing 38-7, putting another score on the board from Troy Bailey. This one, a 35-yard rushing touchdown to make it 38-14. The final from this game was 45-14. Well, this year, these two teams playing in their last games of the season, and last week was a special week for both teams. We start with UW-Eau Claire, who actually helped out La Crosse last Saturday. They looked to bounce back after a tough River Falls loss, then hosting Oshkosh. The Blugolds got down quick 7-0 after the Titans scored on a fumble recovery, but Bryson Freilich broke free on the outside, a 58-yard run. That ties the game up at 7. It stayed that way until the third, but then it's Scott Proctor hitting his guy, LaShawn Evans, for the 8-yard touchdown to give them the lead. Oshkosh would tie it up, but a pair of Brad Gotesh field goals gave them a 6-point lead. Then Jarek Churuk with the dagger here, picking off Kyle Radovich. The Blugolds knock off the Titans. 2014 was the final.
To be frank, it means a whole lot. I mean, you can't really take those next steps of the program until you can prove that you can beat, kind of the teams that have been kind of the perennial powerhouses in the conference. So games like these and games like Platteville a couple weeks ago is, huge steps for our program.
So that Eau Claire win was huge. That actually gave UW-La Crosse the chance to take sole possession of second place with a win over UW River Falls. And the Eagles came out firing. Third play of the ball game here. It's Ben Shramsky. He airs it out to Dominic Labellarte, who makes the catch and stays on his feet for the 72-yard touchdown. What a start for the Eagles. It's 7-0. Late first quarter now, Austin Menkuski punches in the 2-yard score to put his team up 14-0. The Eagles led 17-0 at the half. The lead is out to 26-0. Third quarter, Cole Hinrichsen, QB keep for him. That puts his team on the board 26-7. However, that Eagles defense strong in the fourth quarter. Colton Neiman, he came away with the interception. That iced the game. The Eagles got the win 29-14, taking second place in the conference. With a win today, they can keep it.
Yeah, that's a huge step for our football program. You know, our first year we finished in 5th, then we finished in 3rd. Now you can keep that drive and keep moving along in the conference standings. And for us, I mean, finishing 2nd in the WIC, nobody would be ashamed of that in the country. Of course, we want to get to the position where we can win it, but being in 2nd place by ourselves is a huge deal for our football program.
It hasn't been all about winning and losing for UW-La Crosse this year. That story will be coming up at halftime. For now, that's the end of our pregame show. We're going to send it back out to Carson Park. Enjoy the game.
It's a rivalry that dates back 86 years. It's UW-La Crosse with back-to-back winning seasons and now a chance at earning a playoff berth. It's UW-Eau Claire, a team on the rise, fresh off upsets over WXOW Powers, Platteville, and Oshkosh. It's 2 third-year head coaches building their programs. It's Coulee Region against Chippewa Valley. It's La Crosse and Eau Claire, and it's coming your way next.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and the bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Please remain standing as the
And on this Veterans Day weekend, we welcome you to Carson Park in Eau Claire for WIAC football. Long-standing rivalry, UW-La Crosse and UW-Eau Claire. I'm Scott Emmerich along with Stephen Kelly. Regular season finale for these two teams here on an overcast November Saturday afternoon. A gentle breeze, 22 degrees, and we hope wherever you're watching, whether it's online on WXOW.com or WQOW.com or on WXOW 19 and WQOW 18, we hope you are warm. And Stephen, we are anxious for the start of this one. Little high-stakes football here. These two teams both on the rise here thanks to their head coaches.
Yeah, we saw both teams that had a coaching change very recently and hired at the same time. And as Coach Schmidt will tell you, they've been keeping tabs on each other as programs have developed. And an interesting game here for both squads. You talked about it in the pregame show. You know, UW-La Crosse has an outside chance at possibly a playoff berth if some things break right. Meanwhile, Eau Claire is looking to get their first 500 season in quite a while and break the win total from the last 4 years. Right now, they are tied with that. So obviously, a program in the right direction. As we look at the Blugolds offense, some things to watch out for in this game. They're going to try to get Scott Proctor involved early and often, and especially with his late. We expect about 5 to 10 designed quarterback runs in this one. And defensively, Coach Larson said the key for them, they have to create turnovers and have to limit those big plays. Seems like a simple thing, but a little tougher in practice.
Yeah, the Blugolds have feasted off turnovers all year. They lead the WIAC in turnover margin at +9. On the Eagles side of things, they're looking for a little bit more balance and consistency in offense. It's been a big strike offense for UWL all season. The big play has been huge for them. What they haven't done is had a lot of long, sustained drives and they'd like to steal a page out of Eau Claire's playbook as well and play a little keep away in time of possession. We'll see how it all plays out as the captains make their way to midfield. This is the 86th meeting between these two teams. UWL leads the series at 55-28, and there have been 2 ties. Eau Claire has won 7 of the last 11 meetings, though, and 10 of the last 15. Eau Claire upset La Crosse 20-14 here at Carson Park 2 years ago. This has been a house of horrors for UWL, Stephen. UWL has not won at Carson, they've won just once here at Carson Park since 1999.
We've seen some great games, some late field goals that put the team on top. We've seen some just slobber knockers, and we're looking forward to a good one here. I think they're 2 very different squads if you look at how they want to get things done, but in a lot of ways very equal in talent, so it's going to be fun to watch.
Well, UW-La Crosse has won the toss. They have elected to receive, so we'll get a look at their offense to start the game. And while we have a short break here before the kickoff, let's run down that UW-La Crosse offense led by quarterback Ben Shramsky. His running back is Austin Mankuski. 3 receivers, all very dynamic. Devontae Amos and Dominic Labalarte, along with Cole Speaker. The tight end is Zach McManus. On the offensive line, anchored in the middle by senior Bradley Schultz. The guards are Connor Berry and Oliver Vassanoia. The tackles, Alex Richardson on the left side, Nathan Carpenter on the right side. And I'll run down the Eau Claire defense in a moment as we get ready to go here in Eau Claire. Blugolds set to kick off, and back deep to return for La Crosse is the dangerous Jake Simonchek, wearing number 22. Keep an eye on him. He leads the nation in Division III in combined kickoff and punt returns. Brad Gage has the ball teed up at the 35. And here we go. Blugolds and Eagles underway. This will be Simonchek from his own 13. Simonchek slides his way up to the 30-yard line, and that's where the Eagles will scrimmage 1st and 10. Let's run down the Eau Claire defense for you. The front 3 in the middle, Ben Lobby. The defensive ends, Charlie Brookshaw and Darius Sims. The linebackers, Trevor Nelson, Victor Martinelli, and Alex Moshik, and Sam Romanowski, wearing number 32, leads the WXOW in sacks. The defensive backs, Jad Churik and Jordan Wallen, are the corners. The safeties, Drew Hurley and Cam Swanson. 1st and 10 Eagles from their own 30. That is Jalen Clark lining up behind Ben Shramsky on 1st and 10. The Eagles with 3 receivers to the far side of the field and 1 to the near side. The handoff goes to Clark. Hit right in the middle and brought down almost immediately. I believe that was Victor Martinelli making the tackle. A short gain of 2 on the play, 2nd and 8.
A great job filling in the hole there for the big linebacker, number 56. Read that play right from the get-go, and expect to see La Crosse running the ball early on. Coach Schmidt said that they want to try to establish that run and, as you said earlier, get that time of possession in their favor.
They're the number 3 scoring offense in the conference, averaging 31 points a game. 2nd and 8. Hand off to Simonchek, trying to get around the corner. Simonchek across the 35 to about the 37-yard line. That'll set up a 3rd and 8.
Great job following his blocks and letting the block set up for him there before he cut it inside. Ran to the right angle. You can see a couple of nice blocks here set up. 72 making the nice seal there, and he gave him a lane to go in.
Oliver Vassanoia wearing number 72. I beg your pardon. For UWL. All right, 3rd and 3 here from the 37-yard line. Shramsky over the middle, tipped and incomplete.
And I think it was Zachary Zilmer
Trevor Nelson knocking that away.
Yeah, got his hand on that one. That was a tough throwing window right there. They had 4 defenders in that area. It would have been a tough one to complete.
So a 3 and out for that Eau Claire defense, and now back to punt for La Crosse is Sean Parker.
Cam Swanson back for the Blugolds to receive.
Swanson standing on his own 22-yard line. Parker with a high spiral. Swanson has it. Swanson across the 30 and a nice 10-yard return. 1st and 10 Eau Claire from their own 32-yard line. Let's run down that Eau Claire offense led by quarterback Scott Proctor, the senior. Up front, the offensive lineman in the middle, Grant Crosse is the center. The guards are Ben Peterson and Nick Burton. And the tackles are Drew Schrader and Ben Wolf. The receivers, Brad Lockman, Antoine Moore, and Lee Sean Evans. Brian Kulaga at running back, wearing number 33, the conference's 2nd leading rusher. 1st and 10 for Eau Claire from their own 32. Proctor keeps it on the initial handoff, and Zachary Zilmer's there to drop him for a loss of 3. A little read option. Here's the lacrosse defense for you. The front 4, Zilmer, you just saw, Josiah Gerlitz, Zach Abbots, and Ryan Flathers. As you get another look at that last play, the linebackers are Rusty Murphy, Elijah McGeehan, and Jacob Gerzik. The corners are Max Brower and Colton Neiman. The safeties, Noah Schober and A.J. Villarreal. 2nd and 12 for the Blugolds from their own 30.
Got a blitz coming for lacrosse.
Dumps it out to Kulaga, and read beautifully by Brower. I beg your pardon, not Brower, but a tackle in the backfield there for the Eagles' Noah Schober. As Kulaga is dropped after a short gain of 2, it'll set up a 3rd and long. And these are situations the Eau Claire offense does not want to find themselves in very often.
You know what, though? Smart play by Scott Proctor. He got the ball out of his hands quickly, threw it to where the blitz was coming from. Kulaga just couldn't make that one guy miss.
3 receivers here to the near side of the field. 3rd and long for the Blugolds. They need to get to the 42. Blitz coming. Proctor hangs in there, throws deep, and over the head of Lee Sean Evans, incomplete. So a pair of 3 and outs. An ignominious start for these two offenses, Steve.
Yeah, and I think quarterback and wide receiver not on the same page there. Proctor hit as he threw that ball. LeSean Evans pulled up at the sticks, and I don't know if he was expecting him to go long, but obviously that one sailed on.
So Simonchek is back deep to return this punt, the leading punt returner in the WIAC, averaging almost 15 yards a return. Gage on the kick, lost the handle on it. The ball hit the ground first, so that's a free ball, and the Blugolds have recovered, but it's short of the 1st down, and now a late flag comes in here. And I'm wondering what we're going to get here, because it looked like Gage just kind of lost the handle on the ball, and I don't even think he actually kicked it.
He dropped it on the ground. He did kick it forward. I think that might be something that they're discussing here.
Yeah, perhaps off the ground he kicked it. So we're going to have to take a look at this.
Penalty flag on the field.
Jeff Linehan is our head referee here, and he is meeting. Now they're going to bring everybody in. I don't know if we got a replay on that, but it'd be interesting to see if he actually kicked it off the ground. Here's another look at it.
Yeah, Billy had the ball get away from him there. He did kick it right off the ground.
He kicked it off the ground, and I'm not sure if that's legal or not.
I think the referees are having a little question about that as well. We've seen all 7 of them in the huddle for this.
Either way, it's going to be, let's listen to Jeff.
Have an illegal kick. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the kick and loss of down. 1st down lacrosse.
Oh, the Eagles are going to have sensational field position. As you saw, Gage kicked the ball after it hit the ground. And in a punting situation, that is illegal.
That's definitely a costly penalty. 10 yards from the spot. Eagles right on the doorstep, at least in field goal range at this point.
That takes it all the way down to the 19-yard line. So the Eagles get the first big break of the game and the short field. Jalen Clark lining up behind Ben Shramsky on 1st down. They fake the handoff. Shramsky in the corner to Clark, and off his hands, incomplete. Had him open.
Great play design there. They got him out on a linebacker. He had a step if he could have gotten that ball.
Alex Moshik on the coverage that time, but just through the hands of Clark. So 2nd down now from the 19. Keep an eye on number 17, Cole Speaker, in the far left-hand part of your screen. He is an excellent red zone target for the Eagles. Shramsky, blitz coming, in trouble, somehow slides through. Shramsky's free. Shramsky brought down at the 8-yard line. A touchdown, perhaps, saving tackle that time by Sam Romanski. Otherwise, he was gone. Shramsky, a little bit of magic on there.
Great job eluding that initial guy. He was a free rusher, just got around him. And great job by Sam Romanski just catching him down, because that really could have turned into a touchdown if he didn't make that shoestring tackle.
First and goal now from the 8-yard line. Eau Claire does a great job of blitzing and bringing guys from all different angles, but Shramsky able to work out of it that time. First and goal. Almost intercepted. Cam Swanson stepped in front of that route run by Cole Speaker and almost came away with a red zone pick.
Yeah, and Speaker almost had to pull up. It looked like they were playing that zone. He found a soft spot, but Shramsky kept leading him on that one.
So second and goal. Here's the handoff to Clark. Slides through the middle. Inside the 5, down to the 3. Jalen Clark came into this game with 306 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. Getting the start ahead of Austin Mankuski.
Blugolds brought pressure right up the middle. Coach Schmidt said it's actually the strongest part of their offensive line. They got 3 guys through. The running back able to slip by, and then he gets to the second level.
Third and goal. Trenton Smith has joined Shramsky and Jalen Clark in that Eagle backfield. He wears number 34. Cole Speaker split to the right side of your screen. Now in motion. They fake the handoff to him. Shramsky's now going to run. Shramsky to the end zone. Touchdown, Eagles!
Well-designed play. You could tell that the run was always an option there. He had a nice lane. The tight end had a good kick-out block, able to get in for the score.
Shramsky with his 6th rushing touchdown of the season, and UW-Eau draws first blood at 10:19 to go here in the first quarter, taking advantage of the short field.
Yeah, and you have to take advantage of a miscue in any kind of rivalry game. They did a nice job of going right down the field, and a lot of it done kind of not kind of how we were expecting, with Shramsky getting it done with his legs. 2 big plays from him in this one.
Ryan Byrne boots the extra point. It is good. Eagles up 7-0. We'll take a break here at Carson Park. We'll be right back. A special teams miscue is turned into a touchdown by UW-La Crosse. They go 19 yards on that drive. Ben Shramsky on the 3-yard touchdown run. They lead it 7-0. Here's another look at the touchdown run.
As I said, a great job on the backside. You know that was always an option to run. Just made a couple guys miss and then fights his way in. Very lucky that he got across that goal line before the ball popped out, but it did, and he gets the touchdown.
We saw a scramble there at the end of the play. Across the goal line is Shramsky, and now Ryan Byrne will kick things off. And back deep for the Blugolds. Cam Swanson. Antoine Moore. Byrne high, end over ender. This is Moore. Moore brought down from behind at the 23-yard line. A first down for the Eau Claire Blugolds.
Interesting stat here, Scott. We've had 3 drives now, only 1 completion between the 2 teams, and that was a little 2-yard dump off by Scott Proctor. So the weather, the cold, both teams trying to get it done with their ground game at this point.
Well, this is an Eau Claire offense that likes to possess the ball. I mean, that was how they beat Oshkosh last week, and they upset them. They held on to the ball for 41 minutes in that game to Oshkosh's 19. As you saw Kulaga bang his way for 7 yards.
And Kulaga is a big part of it. That's his 176th rushing attempt on the season. Leads the team in rushing, and you're going to see a heavy dose of him if they can continue to move this drive.
2nd and 3. It's Gulaga again. And brought down from behind. That is Elijah McGeehan. And a nice tackle there and a loss of a yard on the play.
McGeehan playing injured in this game. It's as a senior. Coach telling us that he's got an LCL tear and a bone chip in his knee, but he wanted to go for his last game. Great job in the open field making that tackle and limiting them to no gain on the play.
McGeehan is huge in the middle of that Eagle defense, and there was some question as to whether he would play, but he's gutting it out here as a senior, his last game, or perhaps his last regular season game, we know. 3rd and 4, Proctor looking for somebody. Pressure coming, and Flathers has the sack.
Really tough for Scott Proctor. His receiver fell down on the play. He was looking for the guy in the slot. He just had his feet go out from under him, and then the pressure swallowed him up. You can see it here. When your guy goes down, nothing you can do. Just have to hope for the best.
Ryan Flathers leads the team in sacks. If you caught the beginning part of our pregame show, that's now 9.5 for him on the season. Number 2 in the league behind Sam Romanski of Eau Claire. Nice high kick this time from Gage. Fair catch signal for Simonchek. 1st and 10 Eagles from their own 36-yard line.
And I think from the special teams, anytime you can force him unchecked to have to call fair catch, that's a win for you because we know how dangerous he is in the punt return game.
Well, both these teams hang their hats on their terrific special teams. Both these teams have had blocked kicks this year, so it's kind of strange that the first big turning point of this game came on a special teams mistake. 1st and 10, UW-Eau from their own 36 with Austin Mankuski now in the lineup at running back for the Eagles. Here's the handoff to Mankuski up the middle. Brought down almost immediately. A short gain on that play. Good defense by Eau Claire.
Yeah, Sam Bookberger just into the game. You can see that bright green cast on his left hand. Flew to the ball and was able to get the tackle. Nice job by him.
Second and 9. Shramsky looks over to the sideline, getting the signal from offensive coordinator Isaac Frichte. Shramsky looking for a quick hitter, in trouble now, and down he goes.
What a pass rush by the Blugolds, just relentless. Darius Sims comes up with a sack. There's not much you can do. He had to get the ball out quickly or hope for the best. And you can see, watch Sims right here, number 50, gets through his guy and just closes out and makes the play.
Eau Claire, as a team, they lead the conference in sacks. That is number 38 on the season for this Blue Gold defense. 3rd and long. The Eagles need to get to the 46-yard line. Blue Golds rush 4. Looking deep, looking for Speaker. He can't come up with it. Defended on the play by Jared Churik. Incomplete, it sets up a 4th down.
Yeah, tough catch there, but it was a really nice pass with pressure bearing in. Speaker just couldn't make the handle, trying to tighten rope that sideline.
The Eagles got what they wanted. One-on-one coverage on the near side of the field. Speaker, a big target. Just couldn't quite come up with it.
Coach said that he wants to get Speaker a lot of touches in this game. Thinks he's a very dangerous weapon and could be the difference maker for the Eagles on offense.
Sean Parker to punt. Cam Swanson standing on his own 25. Low liner. Returnable. Swanson. Trying to turn the corner. Gets up to the 43-yard line. A nice return of 13 yards by Cam Swanson. Best field position of the game so far for Eau Claire. 6:41 to go here in the first quarter.
Great block thrown there by Carmelo Rosado on the outside. Actually ended up taking 2 guys out on that play and probably sprung Swanson for an extra 3 or 4 yards.
The Blugolds still looking for that first down, third possession of the game.
Good luck and go to goal.
Eagles leading by a touchdown.
43.
Hand off up the middle. Kulaga is swallowed by Zachary Zilmer, who blew through there, and it's a tackle for a loss.
Something interesting to watch is the Eagles continue to bring pressure, even on the running plays. A nice run blitz there, and able to make the play in the backfield.
Second and 12. Proctor with Kulaga lined up with him in the backfield. Kulaga again finds a little more room, scoots up to the 35 for a gain of 4. That sets up another third and long for the Blugolds.
It's important that Eau Claire continues to carry out these run options. You see Proctor coming off that ball as if he's got it. I can tell you the coaches up on top are looking to see how often the Eagles pinch in on that and when they have a chance to make the play.
Well, now it's third and long. And we'll see what the Eagles do. Do they bring a blitz? Can the Blugolds protect?
See 3 deep for the Eagles right now.
Austin Belot lined up next to Proctor in the backfield on 3rd and 9. It's Proctor taken off himself and brought down by Anthony Schumann after a short gain of 3. That sets up a 4th down, and the Blugolds will have to punt. Another 3 and out for that La Crosse defense.
And the importance of making the play in front of you. Proctor had a lane. If he could have gotten past that guy, there was no one in front of him. But you make the plays that you get, and that was able to get the shoestring tackle and get Eau Claire's offense off the field.
Gage in the punt. Simonchek. Simonchek cuts the other way, and he's got room. Jake Simonchek. Up to the 31-yard line. A nice return of 18 yards, and 1st and 10 UW-Eau from their own 31. And we'll take a timeout. 4:34 to go. Eagles up 7-0. Back at Carson Park in Eau Claire, first quarter of action. The Eagles leading this one 7-0. Both teams still kind of finding their way on offense. The Eagles were able to take advantage of an early special teams mistake by Eau Claire to score that first touchdown. Kramsky fakes the handoff. Hits Trenton Smith. Smith out of the backfield to the 40-yard line for a nice gain of 9 on 1st down.
Great play design there. It was a fake to the left, roll to the right, and they had him wide open. Nice little gainer of about 9 yards.
Trenton Smith, a key figure for the Eagles in that game against Platteville a couple of weeks ago, scored the game-winning touchdown on a play just like that in the 4th quarter. 2nd and short. Mankuski, 1st down yardage up to the 45.
And just a good job by the quarterback, Ben Shramsky, just getting that ball. A quick snap out of the center. It was high, but he got the ball in his running back's belly, and he got a 1st down.
Up to the 46-yard line now. Eagles now with a fullback and a tight end in here. We've seen 4 wide and now more of a running power formation. And they give it to Mankuski. Mankuski has running room. Mankuski off to the races. Touchdown Eagles, 56 yards.
And great blocking on that right side. The Blugolds' Jared Sherrick came up and press coverage of the defensive back. Was coming out with the line, with the tight end here. And then you can watch him get the seal block, and then there's just no one ahead of him. It was all green AstroTurf in front.
Number 84, Zach McManus, from his tight end position, just kind of pushed the line down. You talked about a seal block, Steven. That was it right there, and Mankuski was gone. Ryan Byrne trying to add the point after.
Kick by Burns.
14-0. Eagles out in front. 3:23 to go here in the first quarter.
And great play design on that touchdown run. You saw the action to the left side. You had the receivers over there. And we saw the safety shift as well to cover on that edge. And with that, there was no backside help on the right side, and Crosse took advantage.
Well, the Eagles have been waiting to get the running game going this year. It's been kind of hit and miss. They've kind of hung their hat on their passing game for much of the season. In fact, the Eagles second in the WXOW in passing offense this year. So any kind of contribution, big contribution they can get from the running game is huge.
And if the Eagles have an advantage coming into this game, Coach Schmidt will tell you it's their health. They've got a lot of guys back that have missed good chunks of the season, so it's about as healthy as they've been all year.
And already 81 yards on 9 carries for that UW-La Crosse rushing attack. 56 big ones on that touchdown from Austin Mancuski.
I think if you told Coach Schmidt his 2 touchdowns in the first quarter were both going to come on the ground, he'd be very happy with how his team is doing.
And mildly surprised, perhaps. Especially one from distance. Antoine Moore, Cam Swanson standing back at the 5-yard line. Ryan Byrne on the boot. This one angling towards the sideline. Moore scoops at the 5. Moore in trouble. Somehow escapes and does well just to get up to the 17-yard line, and that's where the Blugolds will take over 1st and 10, their worst field position of the game so far.
Yeah, that kickoff was kind of in no man's land. You weren't sure if it was going to bounce out of bounds or if you could come up and catch it. He kind of got caught in between. Did a nice job to get the yardage that he could. That could have been inside the 10.
Well, let's see if the Blugolds, so far, their first 3 possessions, all 3 and out. Still looking for their first down. Trying to generate something on offense.
And Coach and Scott, look at where they are in Crosse defense, all up in the box.
Belot getting the handoff, and he is taken down by Zilmer after a pickup of about 3.
Number 5, Austin Belot.
La Crosse was looking to place 9 in the box, 2 deep, and those 2 deep even inched up on that play. That was just a really tough defensive front to run against.
2nd and 6.
Crosse showing blitz again.
Proctor looking to throw. Tried to dump off a screen pass, but Belot was on the ground. I don't know if he got his feet tangled up with some of the defensive linemen or maybe some of his own offensive linemen, but that play had no chance once Belot went to the ground.
And the tough thing for Eau Claire is they actually dialed up the perfect play. La Crosse brought pressure. The screen was there. They just couldn't make it happen. Belot fell down.
Proctor now 1 of 3 so far in this game. And again, a 3rd and long situation.
Watch Antoine Moore out of the slot here, number 25. They've tried to go to him on the last 2 third downs.
Proctor in trouble, trying to run for it. And he gets up to the 26-yard line. That is 2 yards short of the first down, so it'll be 4th down again for the Blugolds. Proctor trying to make something happen with his feet that time.
Again, I think it was his first look wasn't there, and he's just got to make a play. La Crosse is doing a really nice job of getting pressure home. And the clock has to go off if you're the quarterback, knowing that you have to get moving.
3rd down conversions were so big for Eau Claire in that win over Oshkosh. 10 of 20 against Oshkosh, but 0 of 4 today against La Crosse.
And for the 3rd straight La Crosse drive, they have good field position this time.
From their own 40-yard line.
Ball going to La Crosse, 1st and 10.
Well, neither quarterback able to get things going through the air. Shramsky just 1 of 5 for La Crosse, but the story is that the La Crosse rushing attack. First and 10 from the 40. Similar formation to what we saw when Mancuski scored the touchdown. This time is Jalen Clark, the running back. Fake the handoff. Shramsky nowhere to go with it, and he is dropped by Sam Romanski.
WIC leading 14th sack on the season. And when you talk to Coach Larson, he says he's not the biggest guy, he's not the fastest guy, but he works the hardest, and that's how he gets home. You saw it there, he's fighting through the block.
High energy and effort, and give the credit to downfield to the excellent coverage. 2nd and 12. Clark scoots ahead across the 40 for 3, and that'll set up a 3rd and long situation for La Crosse.
Just some good tough running there. You got what you could, but Blugolds floated the ball quickly. It's interesting to see at the middle linebackers position, Eau Claire is rotating a couple of guys per series, so they got some fresh legs in there against the rushing attack.
Shramsky in trouble again. Looking. He's got Speaker caught at the 45-yard line. Good enough for a 1st down.
Great job by Speaker knowing exactly where he was on the field. Got that foot down, dragged it right through the out of bounds. You can see it here. And nice job by Shramsky. He's got pressure coming again. Blugolds blitz. Does enough to evade. Good accurate throw on the sideline, and they get the 1st down.
Catch and 1 foot down. Well done by Speaker. Speaker, the team's leading receiver, now has 40 receptions on the season.
No, I think what makes him dangerous is he's got that big body. He can shield the defender very well.
Speaker at 6'2", 215 was a tight end. Clark trying to break free, but cannot escape the grasp. That time with Trevor Nelson for the Blue Gold defense. Short gain of 2.
I think if you're Eau Claire and you're looking forward to it next season, you want to look at the ages of these guys. A lot of juniors, sophomores playing on that defensive front.
First quarter in the books here at Carson Park. It's a good one for UW-Eau so far. They lead it 14-0.
UW-Eau Claire reserve offensive.
Scott Emmerich, Stephen Kelly, start of the 2nd quarter here at Carson Park. Here's another look at that 3rd down conversion. Shramsky to Speaker.
Watch Speaker's feet here. Knew exactly where he was on the field. Gets that foot down. Just a really nice job there by number 17.
College football, you need just 1 foot in. Pro football, you need 2. Here's Mankuski in the handoff. A short gain of 2.
Good running for him, though, falling forward. He had 3 guys dragged him down with him, but falls forward and gets a couple yards.
Some first quarter numbers. Shramsky 2 of 6 for 24 yards. Mankuski now 4 carries, 63 yards. Another big 3rd down situation here for the Eagles. Let's see if the Blugolds dial up a blitz. They rush 4. Shramsky over the middle. Simonchek. Simonchek still free. Simonchek. Touchdown! Eagles, what a run after the catch by Jake Simonchek.
He made 7 guys miss on that play. You can see what he does in the open field as a punt returner, kick returner. Does it as a wide receiver there. Great separation right when the ball came out, and then just made special plays with his feet.
40 yards on the connection. Shramsky to Simonchek, and the Eagles now lead by 3 touchdowns. Ryan Byrne looking to add the point after. And he does. 21-0. UW-La Crosse. 14-13 to go in the 2nd quarter. We'll be right back. UW-Eau rolling on offense. They increased their lead to 21-0. And you said there were 7 missed tackles here, Steven?
Let's just start counting them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 5. I'll give them more. How about
6.
just 6? Maybe not a godly effort, just a special one.
That's pretty good, though, Steven. You said 7 looking at it at full speed, and we go back to the replay. They're actually 6.
I'll give him the credit for getting that touchdown. So if you're looking for the Blugolds offense, we've seen what Lacrosse has done, putting up 3 touchdowns. Eau Claire at this point is 14 yards of total offense, 2 through the air. Obviously, they've got to get something going.
Byrne with a low liner. Moore's going to let bounce and scoop with the 7. Moore in trouble, and he goes down at the 17. And again, not so good field position for Eau Claire.
Just some odd decisions coming out of the special teams. You know you need some good yardage. Running, trying to cross the field when you can just go up the field and get to the 20.
So this will be a test for the Blue Gold offense. Not really known for its downfield passing. They like to run and possess the ball and work time of possession and work the clock. Trailing by 3 scores here.
I promise you the coaching staff has a chart for this situation, but definitely not where they wanted to be. Down 3 touchdowns and ball on their own 13 to start a drive.
That's Moore in motion. They fake it to him. Proctor keeps and picks up 5.
Good read there. They had a nice push up the middle. It's a good 5-yard gain.
Proctor 1 of 3 through the air so far. He came off the bench last year in this game against Lacrosse. And when he came off the bench, he was 9 of 17 for 142 yards and 1 interception.
Nice pull block there to lead the way. Had the tight end coming through as well. It was a nice play design.
13, you're on. See if that gets them going. After a gain of 5, 2nd and 5. Kulaga. Stacked up by Zach Avitz.
A nice job by the Lacrosse defensive front. They're not getting off those blocks, but they're holding them up. That gives linebackers time to flow to the ball. And Eau Claire's really been struggling in this exact situation. 3rd and medium, 3rd and long. It's not what this offense is built for. We'll have to see if they got the right play design here.
Still looking for their first down. They are 0 for 4 in 3rd down situations.
Looks like we got man coverage.
Eagles rush 5. Proctor open. Lockman. 1st down up to the 35-yard line, and we'll see if that gets things going for the Blue Golds. Scott Proctor hung in there well.
An impressive job, and you're exactly right. He hung in there. He made the exact right read as he made the completion to Brad Lockman. He was wide open. Great play design, and nice job by the senior quarterback knowing just how much time he had to get that ball off.
Lockman with just his 4th catch of the season.
Sometimes you just need that 1 first down to get things moving on offense. We'll see if they can capitalize.
Kulaga. No, it's Proctor. Proctor keeps it and picks up about 4.
And another veteran move there with the cadence. You saw Eau Claire Lacrosse showed the blitz, gave the offensive line just enough time to adjust to it, made the right read and made his guy miss. Got 5 yards or a couple yards on the play.
I saw Kulaga and Proctor have a little conversation after that play. I think Kulaga was a little disappointed he didn't get the ball that time with the Eagles bringing the blitz, and it opened up some space.
And for Proctor, though, you know that the bulk of that defensive rush is going to be right up the middle. It's a tough call. You have to make that in that split second, and he still got a nice gain.
2nd and 7. Trouble. Proctor goes down. Another sack for that Eagle defense.
Unfortunately, Proctor didn't have as many decisions to make on that one.
Just go down.
Exactly. That Eagles pass rush was in on him on a hurry.
Schumann and Gerlitz combine on the sack. Let's take a look at it.
And once again, it's those free rushers just coming right through, and there's not much your quarterback can do. You look up, and all of a sudden they're right there in front of you.
Well, Dan Larson did express some concern about his offensive line. It's a group that has had to battle some injuries throughout the season. 3rd and long, and a flag here. Flathers jumped across the line. We'll see if that caused the offensive player to move. Schrader was the player who jumped for Eau Claire.
Offsides. Defense number 46. Entering the neutral zone, causing the offense to react. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Schrader might be a sophomore, but that was a veteran move. You saw that they can get a couple of free yards on an important 3rd down play. That was a nice job by him. And Eau Claire, as you said, they're rotating some guys through. They have that right side of the line as 2 sophomores starting. And I think Lacrosse is starting to key on them as well.
So that makes it a third and a little bit more manageable. 3rd and 8. They need to get to the 45. 4-man rush. Proctor looking deep, looking for Le'Shawn Evans. Incomplete. A great battle that time with Colton Neiman, and it'll be 4th down.
They got the coverage they wanted. It was single coverage, one-on-one. Ball was where it needed to be. Then at that point, it was kind of a hand fight, and nice job by the defender. Evans couldn't make the catch. Obviously, the Blugolds sideline wanted that to pass interference. I don't think there's ever been an incompletion on a deep pass like that. The sideline hasn't won.
Gage on the punt. Simonchek from his 20. Flag comes in. Simonchek with some open room.
Some big blocks, but this one's coming back.
Yeah, he'll get knocked out at about the 42-yard line, but there was a definite block in the back at the 22-yard line. So this will knock it back a little bit for the Eagles, leading 21-0. Let's listen to Jeff Linehan.
During the return, illegal block in the back above the waist. Number 16 on the receiving team. 10-yard penalty. 1st down, Eau Claire. TV timeout.
And we'll be right back. Eagles ball when we return. .10:38 to go here, 2nd quarter. Eagles have it, 1st down from their own 12. And that is Joey Stutzman with the handoff, his first carry of the game, a gain of 2. Stephen, a lot of stuff going on other parts of the campus for both these schools, Eau Claire and La Crosse.
Yeah, Eau Claire volleyball team in the regional semifinals. They just announced it here. They are a winner 3-1, so their season continues. Blugolds have very high hopes for this volleyball team, and they've looked very good so far in the NCAAs.
And in La Crosse, the UW-Eau women's soccer team playing in the regional semifinals as well at home. And oh my goodness, almost a pick 6 there.
Great
for Cam
read.
Swanson.
Yeah, great read. He broke on that ball immediately once Shramsky put his back foot down, and he's going to be kicking himself because that was a pick 6 written all over it.
When you're down 21-0, those are the kind of plays that can get you back into a game. Got an update from the UW-Eau women's soccer game. They're leading 2-0. So one thing that these two institutions have, the terrific sports, similar academically, very competitive in all aspects, including here today. 3rd and long. Shramsky with the blitz coming. Dumps it off. Open. Stutzman. Stutzman with 1st down yardage to the 27-yard line. And the perfect call that time with the blitz.
Took the words out of my mouth. Exactly what I was going to say. Not only was it the perfect call, but they threw exactly where the blitz was coming from. No one around him. You can see you got pressure right up in his face, but that's what you want when you got a screen dialed up, and there's just no one within 10 yards when he catches that ball.
So the drive stays alive. 1st down from the 28. Stutzman spinning his way, scoots up to the 30.
Short gain there, but good patience by Stutzman. Waited for those blocks to get set up, didn't rush it. Got a couple nice yards. Nice showing for the freshman.
Stutzman, a freshman from Lake Zurich, Illinois. And one of the priorities for Mike Schmidt and his staff is the last couple of years is to head down to the Chicago area and recruit that area a little bit more. And he has done so. One of the benefits is getting this guy, Stutzman, although the Blugolds all over him that time. Cam Swanson leading the way defensively, along with Charlie Brookshaw. Brookshaw, by the way, the reigning WIAC Defensive Player of the Week, number 92 for the Blugolds.
And just to go back to that Chicago area, it's interesting because I think both of these teams are trying to recruit in that region. In fact, Michael Mahue is the recruiting coordinator for Eau Claire. That's his region. That's their coordinator. So both teams trying to take some talent from that northern Illinois area.
3rd and long. Simonchek in motion. Shramsky on the run. Throws over the middle. Devonta Amos cannot come up with it. Throw a little bit behind him, but there was an opportunity there for the Eagles, and it'll be 4th down.
Sam Brzezinski was in coverage, but he was a step back, And that could have been a very dangerous play if they weren't able to drop that ball, and you can see it here. Nice job again, Shramsky just making plays with his feet. There's that step difference. Brzezinski can't close out that. There's no one behind him.
Now that was a drop pass by Amos that time and an opportunity lost.
For lacrosse.
So Sean Parker in the punt.
This will no doubt be Eau Claire's best field position when they get the ball.
Swanson from his 28. Swanson into the open field. Just tripped up at the 47-yard line.
And the impressive thing is he did a lot of that by himself. There were some free rushers coming, and he just got a step on them. Really nice return. Blugolds going to start with the ball, the 48-yard line, and it could be exactly what this offense needs to get going. You can see there's a lot of white shirts, not a lot of blue. When he finally found the blue, that's when he got tripped up.
From the 48-yard line, best field position, as you said, Stephen, for the Blugolds so far today, trailing 21-0. Kulaga threw a hole. Gain of 7.
Kids call that grown man running. Bulldozed the defender. Got 3 extra yards because of it.
His best run of the day so far. 6 carries, 15 yards for Brian Kulaga.
As we said, Lacrosse knows what Eau Claire wants to do, and they're filling up that box. I think if Eau Claire wants to get a little more running room, they're going to have to show them that they can pass the ball.
Kulaga right near the first down marker after a gain of 3, and it looks like they're going to give it to him. First down, Blugolds from the Eagles 42, the first time Eau Claire has crossed the 50-yard line.
And second first down, so again, you're looking to see if that can get some momentum going. 2 plays, didn't have to worry about that long third down. Nice drive for the Blugolds so far.
Coming up on the 7-minute mark here in the second quarter. We'll hand off to Antoine Moore. Moore cuts up. Almost breaks free, but he picks up 2. You know, Antoine Moore seen more action in the flanker position and in the slot for Eau Claire. A couple years ago, down here at Carson Bark against Lacrosse, Antoine Moore had a terrific game, 11 carries for 111 yards, and was a difference maker in that Eau Claire win, a 20-14 win over Lacrosse. Once again, that was 2 years ago here at Carson Park.
Yeah, and Eau Claire's got a lot of athletes on the field. It's just trying to get them in the right positions to make those plays. Jet sweeps can definitely be one of them, or some quick passes. They just need to get that offense sparked.
2nd and 8. Nowhere to go that time for Kulaga.
And Scott, I told you earlier, the coaches are watching up here to see when they have the opportunities to pull that ball out and have a quarterback run. That would have been the play because Proctor had no one out there. Everyone on the Lacrosse defense flowed to the ball, and Proctor could have had at least a first down.
3rd and 7. Bilot has joined Proctor in the backfield. Here comes a blitz. Proctor over the middle. Incomplete, intended for Lee-Sean Evans. Neiman right there in coverage. 13 on number 13. Incomplete. So 4th down. And when you're down by 3 scores with 5.5 minutes to go, an easy decision here for Coach Larson. It's go for it time.
Absolutely, and they had the right play designed up. Ball got there, defender got there. Whichever got there first is up for debate or whatever side you're a fan of, but this is going to be a huge play for Eau Claire. They need a conversion here.
Eagles bring in a fresh set of pass rushers on 4th and 7. They need to get to the 32. Eagles rush 3. Proctor goes deep. Neiman on Evans.
And he didn't need the pass interference. He's got the ball, Scott.
A terrific catch by Lee-Sean Evans down at the 3-yard line. The flag comes in, and we'll confirm that it was defensive pass interference.
What I liked about what Evans did on that route is he kept him close and then did the little burst right at the end to make that separation. We'll see if he pushed off, but I think we're going to be good for Eau Claire to continue on.
Pass interference defense, number 13. Penalty is refused. Result of the play, first down.
That's a veteran move at wide receiver. Keep that defender close, and right when you need to make the separation, get that little extra burst.
Lee Sean Evans, the team's leading receiver, came in 32 catches, 444 yards.
He's up on top with no extra help. That's a one-on-one matchup that you can take advantage of.
First and goal from the 3. Proctor going up the middle. Did he get in? Ball came loose. Who's got it? It's a
touchback.
UW-Eau football. It's a touchback. Elijah McGean came up with the ball. Proctor lost it as he crossed the goal line.
We're going to have to see a replay exactly where that ball came out, but that is a killer for the Eau Claire offense.
We'll take a short timeout and see if we can get another look at it when we come back. Eagles up 21-0 after the huge turnover. Stay with us. Big turnover here at the goal line. Scott Proctor, did he get across or not?
Yeah, and you'll see here right at the 1-yard line gets hit. That ball comes loose. Good job by the officials. And Eli McGean, the senior, with a big recovery in the end zone.
And a huge momentum swing. The Blugolds with a chance to score and get back into it, but the turnover. Now here's Shramsky. Looking deep, open, out of bounds, Dominic Lavalarte with his first catch of the game, and it's a gain of 14 and a first down.
Once again, Shramsky just extending the play, giving himself time with his legs, and making the right decision once he pulls the trigger.
Shramsky was the starting quarterback in this game 2 years ago here at Carson Park, filling in for an injured Tarek Yagi. Had some ups and downs in that game. And you know he's looking for a little bit of redemption here today, and so far it's worked out in his favor. Shramsky looking deep now for Speaker, and Speaker has it. Speaker breaks free. Touchdown Eagles. 66 yards from Ben Shramsky to Cole Speaker.
And the tough thing for the Blugolds is maybe the tough pill to swallow. They were in perfect position on the play. It's just Speaker going up and making the play that needed to be made.
Here's another look at it. Cole Speaker with his 10th touchdown catch of the season, just out-leaping Carmelo Rosado on the far sideline and then going the distance.
As I said, Rosado did everything he should. He was turned around, he found the ball, he was in front of his guy. That was just one of those 50-50 balls that went Lacrosse's way.
Byrne adds the point after. And just like that, we went from a potential 2-score lead to now a 4-score lead for the Eagles, 28-0, 4:49 to go here in the second quarter. We talked about the size advantage. And Steven Speaker stands at 6'3", Rosado at 5'10", and that time, you know, Rosado right there. And we've seen that a lot from Cole Speaker this year if you're a UW Lacrosse fan.
We know Coach Schmidt wants to take some risks in this game. He doesn't leave time of possession in the conference for a reason, because they do have some drives that are done in a couple of plays. And a gutsy call when you're up 3 touchdowns to go for the deep ball, but it paid off. And he said to us before the game, he wants to get Speaker involved, find ways to get him the ball, and he thinks he can be the difference maker. And so far he has.
Well, Shramsky started this game just 1 of 5 for 6 yards. Since then, he is 5 for his last 7 for 152 yards. A couple of big strike touchdowns, one to Jake Simonchek, and that one you just saw to Cole Speaker.
Now this is a crucial 4:49 for the Blugolds. They have to either find some way to get a point on the board or not give Lacrosse the ball back with any time. I can tell you right now that they want to go into the halftime with some momentum on their side.
Byrne with the approach. Antoine Moore from his 13. Moore gets it up to the 25-yard line. The tackle on the play by
Lacrosse's number 45.
Jake Krieger.
And that was Moore's best return of the day so far. Nice job just getting north and south and running it up. Blugolds going to start at the 26.
Ball at the 26-yard line.
So the Blugolds had some nice momentum on that last drive, took it all the way down to the 3-yard line. Let's see if they can rediscover some of that momentum.
Once again, we're seeing some one-on-one coverage.
Proctor lost the handle for a moment, then he's tripped up in the backfield by Zilmer, and a loss of 1.
And on those timing plays, if you just have the ball get away from me for a second, that can be something that can just throw a little wrench in that plan.
Well, we talked about how cold it is out there. It's not windy, but it is cold, 22 degrees at kickoff here in Eau Claire. And that can mess with ball handling, especially if you're an offense like Eau Claire, who does some deceptive moves with their offense. A lot of read option kind of things. And then Kulaga again gobbled up at the 24. A host of Eagles coming in to make the tackle.
And I can tell you it's not going to get easier in the second half. Our meteorologist just sent us a message that there could be some snow starting in that third quarter. So you're going to have to find ways to adapt. Like I said, this is a crucial third down. They don't want to give the ball to La Crosse with time still left on the clock. Claire needs to find a way to convert this.
3rd and 12.
Too high safety look for La Crosse.
Here comes the blitz. Proctor looking deep for Evans, and Evans turned up in a curl route instead of going deep. Incomplete. 4th down, La Crosse football.
Second time on 3rd down that these two have had miscommunications, and it's the same thing both times. Evans turns up on the 1st down sticks. Proctor is expecting him to go deep.
Brad Cage back deep to punt with Simonchik standing on his own 40. And it is blocked. Flag comes in. The ball is scooped up by the Eagles and taken down to the 2-yard line. It is Jacob Gerzik who scooped up the block punt. We'll see who the flag is on. It looked like Zach Pierce may have gotten a piece of that punt and made the block.
Hey, let's go, O! Let's go!
Well, it looks like it's going to go against UW-La Crosse. Let's listen.
We're back on the field.
Personal foul, leaping. Number 37. On the receiving team, 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
Huge break for the Blugolds. Zach Pierce, who blocked that punt, called for leaping. Something you can't do on special teams.
That's a Whipley Blugold 1st down.
So we'll show it to you in just a moment and give you an idea of what Jeff Linehan was talking about here. 1st and 10, Eau Claire from their own 39-yard line. Proctor. Lockman in the UW-Eau territory down to the 44. Let's see if we can get another look at that blocked punt by Zach Pierce and the penalty for leaping. Well, hold on a second. We going up with a hurry-up offense for Eau Claire.
Whistling 1st down for the Blugolds at the 44 on the Crosse.
Kulaga trying to get to the outside. Gerzik had it read, and he shoves him out of bounds at the 45. A loss of a yard on the play. Elijah McGee goes soaring into the Eau Claire bench.
Knocked out of bounds for number 51,
He's able to make it back out wearing number 40. Stephen Kelly has left the broadcast booth here. He is headed down to the field, where we will visit with the head coaches at halftime. Now McGee checks out of the game for the Eagles. Their middle linebacker, Joey Boldo, wearing number 59, is checked in. 2nd down, Kulaga. Rue, Kulaga into the open. Kulaga free. Down to the 20. Gain of 25 on the play, and the Blugolds on the move again. Kulaga now starting to find some running room here the last couple of series. from the 21. Belot with some room. Nice gain down to the 13-yard line after a gain of 8.
Boston Belot. Tackle on the play by number 27, Alexander.
Laga, by the way, now up to 40 yards on 10 carries. Just a moment ago, he had just 15 yards on 6 carries. So the Blugolds running game starting to gain some traction here. Second and short. Belot again. Stuffed at the 10, but he has enough for the first down with 1:32 to go until halftime. Both these teams with their full allotments of timeouts, 3 each. And Scott Proctor starting to heat up as well offensively, throwing the ball. 4 of 9 for 71 yards now.
Personal foul, face mask, number 97 on the defense. After this is the goal, automatic first down.
Zach Baudry flagged for the face mask penalty, and that'll move the ball down to the 5-yard line. So first and goal, Blugolds. Another opportunity to score here. Under 1:30 with the clock running until halftime. And now Belot lining up in the backfield next to Proctor. Made a little bit of a glitch there, and he's going to call for a false start.
Number 5, offense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
So that'll make it a first and goal from the 10. If you're just joining us, the Blugolds were just down at the 3-yard line on their last possession, but Proctor fumbled just before he was crossing the goal line, and the Eagles recovered in the end zone. And now another flag as a couple of Blugolds left early again.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Back-to-back false start penalties in the red zone offense. Killing the Blugolds right now. So now it's first and goal from the 15. Proctor dumps it off, and it is intercepted through the hands of Kulaga and picked off by the Eagles. Another huge turnover. And it is A.J. Villarreal with the interception, his first of the season. Just wanted to do a short little slip screen to Kulaga, and Villarreal, ooh, did he come up with that? It may have slipped through his hands. I don't know if we get another look at it. We don't have replay in Division III, but we have it here in the booth, and that one may have slipped through his hands. May have been a break for UW-La Crosse. Anyway, it goes down as an interception for A.J. Villarreal. And the Blugolds having trouble finishing drives in the red zone. Again, another missed opportunity. So now with 52 seconds to go till halftime, we'll see if the Eagles content to run out the clock. No, Shramsky to throw. Shramsky in trouble. Looking for Amos, and he throws it away just in time to avoid the safety. Let's take another look at this and watch A.J. Villarreal, 27. Does this ball squirt through his arms? Indeed it does. That is a break for the Eagles. So second and 10 from the 12. Here's the handoff to Clark. Clark through the middle. Scoots up to about the 18-yard line after a gain of 6. We'll see if anybody uses their timeouts here. Both teams with 3 as we come across 30 seconds to go till halftime.
Third down for Crosse.
The play clock is at 18 seconds. The game clock is 3 seconds ahead of that, so the Eagles don't have to run a play if they choose. and they will choose not to run a play. So that'll do it. First half of action in the books, and it has been all Eagles. They lead it 28-0. To give you an idea of some of the first half stats, Ben Shramsky, 6 of 12 for 158 yards throwing and 2 touchdowns. Austin Mankuski, the top rusher, 4 carries, 63 yards, and a touchdown as well. Shramsky also with a touchdown. Cole Speaker, leading receiver, 2 catches, 81 yards for Crosse. For the Blugolds, Scott Proctor, 4 of 10 for 71 yards and an interception. Brian Kulaga, 10 carries for 40 yards and a 4-yard average. Stephen Kelly standing by with head coach Dan Larson of the Blugolds. Stephen?
All right, hey, thanks, Scott. Coach, obviously not the way that you scripted this first half going. What are some things that you have to change here as you get into the second half?
Well, we shot ourselves in the foot the entire first half. Missed tackles. We have the punt situation that happens down there, and then we get the ball inside the red zone twice. 2 turnovers, penalties on us. I mean, they're good. We can't give them more opportunities, otherwise it's going to be a long game for us. So it's just for us, we just got to calm down. We got to play in some big moments where we've been successful here over the past couple of months. We just got to be better here in the second half.
We've seen any personnel changes as we come into the third quarter?
Nope, we just got to keep doing what we're doing. We're ready to go, and we just got to play better. It's just slow down, concentrate on what we got to do, and then execute in some of those critical moments.
All right, Coach Larson, thank you very much. Scott, we're going to send it back up to you in the booth.
All right, and we'll send it back to our studio and Carly Murata in a moment. Halftime score, UW-La Crosse 28 and UW-Eau Claire nothing. Stay with us.
Welcome to the Tractor Central Halftime Show. I'm your host, Carly Murata. UW-La Crosse leading UW-Eau Claire 28-0 at the half. This is the last regular season game for both teams. Therefore, let's take you back through each of their seasons. For UW-La Crosse, they have not won pretty this year, but they have gotten the job done with a 6-3 record, 4-2 in conference. The theme this year being find a way to win.
The Eagles' first real test of the season came against Illinois Wesleyan, who was ranked number 21 at the time. Tied at 31 with 2 minutes, 13 seconds remaining in the game, the Eagles drove it down to the Titans' 4-yard line. 2 seconds left on the clock. It's the hometown hero, Ryan Byrne, putting the 20-yard field goal through the uprights to win the game, 34-31. Week 4, the Eagles open up conference play against UW-Whitewater, a top 5 team in Division III football. The Eagles were held to just 46 rushing yards and 158 yards of offense, their lowest on the season. Warhawks come out on top, 30-7. So how about another grinded-out win to get the Eagles back on track? The following week at UW-Stout, this one went to overtime. Ryan Flathers comes away with the sack. It is then Rusty Murphy who takes it the distance for the score. The Eagles come out on top, 29-23. The Eagles found their offensive groove the following week against UW-Stevens Point, scoring 63 points, the most since a 62-7 win in 1979.
This team came ready to play. We challenged them a lot, and they responded. I mean, what a first half. That's probably the best first half we've played since I've been here.
After falling to UW-Oshkosh, they hosted UW-Platteville, and wide receiver Jake Munchak made a name for himself with 92 yards and a touchdown, adding to that depth that they already have at wide receiver.
I got myself and Devontae in the slot, and whenever we can have Cole and Dom on the other side, it's deadly, our pass games.
The Eagles grabbed the win against UW River Falls for Senior Day to put them at 6-3 overall, and with a win today, the Eagles will once again put their destiny in the hands of the NCAA Playoff Committee.
Now we switch gears to UW-Eau Claire, and coming off a 1-win season in 2017, the big focus for the Blugolds this offseason to get bigger, faster, stronger, and most importantly, employ a winning attitude and mentality within the program.
After winning their season opener on the road against Loris 45-13, the Blugolds returned to Carson Park, looking to move to 2-0 for the first time since 2010. In double OT, Brian Kulaga scored from 9 yards out to give Eau Claire a 30-23 lead. So it came down to the Blugold defense, with St. Norbert facing 4th and goal inside the 5 when senior Drew Hurley batted down the pass to secure a big early season win.
We've continued to ask them to do a lot, and we continue to ask them to do a lot when there's nothing guaranteed. And tonight's another step in the right direction for what we're trying to build here.
Blugolds opened WIAC play against Menominee with another edition of the War on 94. The Blue Devils took the lead for good in the fourth quarter, deliver a painful 26-20 defeat. As the following week, Stevens Point won a defensive battle 9-3 at Carson Park. Then the week after, the number 4 team in the country, Whitewater, showed off their strength by running away with a shutout. But backed up against the wall, the Blugolds rallied and bounced back with maybe the biggest win of the Dan Larson era at Platteville, where defensive back Carmelo Rosado delivered the knockout blow with a 45-yard pick six in the fourth quarter, their first victory over the Pioneers since 2009.
Our goals are still there. We can still go and win football games. We can turn this program around. We can keep taking steps in the right direction that we want to, and those are still here now.
But the roller coaster ride continued with a tough loss on the road to River Falls. But the Blugolds once again bounced back the following week and beat a really good Oshkosh team at home. With the win, Eau Claire moved to 4-5 on the season overall and have an opportunity today to get to 500 and also take momentum into the offseason.
Coming up after the break, we bring you a story you don't want to miss on UW-La Crosse's hype man, Loudon Brown. That's next. Welcome back to the Tractor Central halftime show. At the start of spring practices, UW-La Crosse football created a few new roles on the team. Student assistant coach Loudon Brown, he helps with the defensive backs, but he also has a more unique role on the team.
Coach Brown is nuts.
Coach Brown is passionate, for sure. Coach Brown is an awesome guy.
I'll be completely honest and say I'm probably the weirdest guy I've ever known. You're not going to get normal when you look at Loudon Brown.
A self-proclaimed hype man.
And I tell him, like, our practice is the tone of it set by you. You will determine how well we practice, and he's just internalized that and taken it to a whole nother level.
After a run-in with Coach Schmidt, Loudon was offered a student assistant coaching position. But how did he take on this role?
He was this new guy, this new student coach, and yeah, we were like, hey, we need somebody. Nobody stepped up, and all of a sudden from the back of the room, it's, hey, coach, I'll do it.
Someone brought my name up, and I was like, let's go. Like, this is awesome.
He has something in store every day, and sometimes it's something that even Coach Schmidt isn't in the loop about.
I love it. I love this stuff. This is what we are.
We're out here like, what is he going to do today? We're thinking about it like, is he due to rip it off today?
Sure, Coach Brown is absolutely crazy. But this team wouldn't be complete without him.
No, he's just more than a hype man, to be honest. He's one of the guys.
There's a guy that takes his job very seriously, and the impact that it's had on our program is pretty cool.
Coming up after the break, we bring you the first half highlights before the start of the second half. Right now, more from UW-Eau Claire. We're back after the break.
Life moves fast, so there's a good chance you don't know the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire and Mayo Clinic Health System are working together to create amazing research opportunities for college students from across the Midwest. UW-Eau Claire signed a master collaborative research agreement with Mayo Clinic Health System, which paves the way for our students to work directly with physicians and scientists from the world-renowned healthcare provider.
The agreement between Mayo Clinic and University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire is really the second in the nation that we've ever created. This unique partnership between a university structure and Mayo Clinic allows for a really deep embedded research and innovation type of infrastructure to leverage both the university and the Mayo Clinic side.
If you would like to conduct research with world-class scientists, physicians, and faculty mentors, complete your application today and make plans to join the UW-Eau Claire family.
Welcome back to the Tractor Central halftime report. We just wrapped up the first half with UW-La Crosse leading UW-Eau Claire 28-0. So let's take you through those first half highlights before we send it out to the field for the start of the second half. Both teams meeting at half field. Eagles leading the all-time series. Blugolds having won the last 7 of 11 meetings. First quarter here, 3rd and goal for the Eagles. Ben Schramsky fakes the handoff, finds the lane for the first score of the ball game. UW-La Crosse 5-0 when scoring first this year. So more from UWL. The key for them today was to get their running game going. How about this? Austin Mankuski, a 56-yard breakaway. It's 14-0 Eagles. Second quarter here. Schramsky over the middle to Jakes Munchak, making guys miss right and left. He stays on his feet, dives in for the score. It's 21-0 Eagles. Late second quarter. Fourth down for the Blugolds. Scott Proctor to LeSean Evans. What a catch, and they have it at the 3-yard line. Now the ensuing drive, Proctor up the middle. The ball comes out. Elijah McGeehan has it for the touchback, and the Eagles taking advantage. Shramsky on the 30. He airs it out down the right sideline. It's Cole Speaker for the 66-yard touchdown. That's his 10th of the year. The Eagles lead the Blugolds 28-0 at the half. That's all for our halftime show. We'll have more from UW-La Crosse here in a minute, and then we'll send it out for the second half. Thank you so much for watching.
I had a really amazing experience at UW-Eau. I wouldn't change anything for the world.
I'm just so thankful that I came to UW-Eau because we have wonderful professors.
They just do such a good job of helping you and, actually kind of caring about where you're at. And I don't think you could maybe get that as well at other places.
I came down for my tour and I was told there's a lot of hands-on application type stuff, and that was kind of what I was looking for.
I got a lot out of it, and I was given a lot while I was here.
I don't know of a better deal that you can find anywhere in the United States. So I am proud to be a UW-L Eagle. Go Eagles, baby.
Here with Coach Schmidt, and Coach, if you were to draw up your game plan for how you wanted this one to start, not much would be different from what we saw in the first half.
Honestly, it's not. We thought kind of what we said is let's get up 28-0 at a half, and in a perfect world, that's what happens, And our guys just played really hard. Those are huge stops down in the red zone, I think, and so yeah, great job by our defense getting off the field, and then kind of what our offense is. We kind of get stopped, explosive, get stopped, explosive, and so we'll keep our special teams going and keep our foot on the gas here in the second half.
I was going to ask, what is your game plan for the second half, playing with a 28-point lead?
Yeah, we didn't come here just to win. This is the last game of the year. We came here for total annihilation. We're going to go put it on and see what we can do here in the second half as much as we can.
All right, Coach Schmidt, thank you very much. La Crosse will be kicking off to start the second half. We'll send it right back to you.
Thanks a lot, Steven. So dialing it back, forget it. Coach Schmidt going to put the pedal to the metal. The Blugolds will try to answer that. Some key first half stats. La Crosse with 254 total yards. Eau Claire with 134. And another key stat I thought as well, time of possession. Eau Claire prides itself on time of possession. Best in the league, keeping the ball away from the other offense. Well, time of possession, La Crosse 15-21, Eau Claire 14-39. Turnovers also a big issue. Eau Claire came into this game best in the league in turnover margin at +9. The turnovers, though, so far have been +2 for La Crosse. 2 turnovers for the Blugolds, none for the Eagles. And Stephen Kelly back here in the booth joining me right now. As we begin the second half, it'll be Blugold football. Ryan Byrne kicking off to Antoine Moore, except it'll go out of bounds, and the Blugolds will get good field position to start the second half.
Yeah, good for the Blugolds who need to get something going on offense. Very telling there in my interview with Coach Schmidt. Going for total annihilation, not taking the foot off the pedal here in the second half.
Well,
Eau Claire's going to have to respond to that.
Yeah, with the possibility that the Eagles could get into the playoffs with a win. Once again, they need to win here today and get some help from some other teams. Some of the other big games they're keeping an eye on is the Linfield-Oregon game. They need Linfield to lose. That would help. Also, Sender, Kentucky. That would help the Eagles if they lost today. And you got the feeling that not only do the Eagles feel like they needed to win, but they need some style points here today as well. First down, Blugolds. Proctor keeps it and scoots up for a couple yards.
That's what the Blugolds expected to do more in the first half. Get Scott Proctor on those designed runs. Kind of game flow didn't work that way, but we'll see what they can get going in the second half. Only problem is that clock is working against them with each tick.
Yeah, Proctor now with 10 carries for just 8 yards. The Eagles done a good job of holding him in check. Ryan Kulaga leads the Blugolds in rushing, 10 carries for 40 yards. Leading receiver LeSean Evans, 1 catch for 36 yards. 2nd and 8. Eagles showing blitz here.
Eagles secondary making some adjustments as well.
Now they back off a little bit. Proctor straight back, wants the quick slant to Evans and knocked out of there by Colton Neiman. Boy, those two have gone at it all game long.
And honestly, Neiman, who's been winning so far, sands a one big catch, but that was a nice route there by Evans. Ball just a little bit behind him, and that allowed the defender to close in.
3rd and long, been a familiar situation for the Blugolds in that first half. 1 of 8 on 3rd downs in that first half was the Blugold offense. Proctor trying to run now, trying to escape, and brought down immediately. Nowhere to go for Scott Proctor. It's a loss of 4. Joey Bolda got in there with the tackle along with Zach Zilmer, and the Blugolds forced a punt again.
Yeah, I think when you're looking at one of those design QB keepers, you're waiting for one of those alleys to open up, and they just didn't. Stout across the board, stood up some offensive linemen and made the play in the backfield.
This will be the 5th punt of the game for Brad Gage. Nice punt by Gage. Simonchek all the way back to his 20-yard line. Tries to break free and goes down at the 15, and a late flag comes in. The Eagles may be pushed back a little further.
Really nice open field tackling by Braden O'Loughlin there. As we've seen, make a lot of plays with his feet, but continue to make.
There is a penalty flag on the field.
Marker down at the 20-yard line. We'll see if they push this back halfway to the goal. No, they're having a long conversation down there.
There's no foul for blocking the back. First down, Lacrosse.
All right, after much discussion, it'll be 1st and 10 Eagles from their own 15-yard line. Ben Shramsky, 6 of 13 in that first half for 158 yards and 2 touchdowns. Leading rusher Austin Mankuski, 4 carries for 63 yards, including a 56-yard touchdown run, the 2nd touchdown of the game for the Eagles in that first half. On first down, the give is to Jalen Clark, who bounces outside with some room. Clark finally brought down at the 39-yard line after a pickup of 24 yards.
And Clark doing a great job. There was no arm tackle. There was just trying to hit him with the shoulder, bounced right off and continue to run. You'll see it coming up here on your highlight.
And now Clark is limping on the near sideline.
Yeah, Drew Hurley there just didn't wrap up, tried to get a big hit with his shoulder pad. Wasn't able to make it. A nice job bouncing off and continuing that run.
And Clark will limp off the field on his own power after a run of 24 yards and a first down. Austin Mankuski into the lineup replacing him.
I'll tell you, Scott, I'm really impressed by the block that was thrown there by Alex Richardson, the left tackle. Just a sophomore, but did a really nice job of sealing off that edge.
It's been a young offensive line that has really developed this year for Mike Schmidt. That was one of the question marks coming into the season. How would this young offensive line hold up? They have one senior in the middle there in Bradley Schultz. Otherwise, it's a young group. Shramsky has Simonchek. Simonchek, really tough to tackle for a gain of 6.
Yeah, I think the word you're looking for him is spry. Just doesn't let that go down with that first defender. Blugolds do a nice job of swarming. And again, Shramsky just creating the throwing lane with his feet there. He always seems to take more than one to bring him down.
2nd and 4. Mankuski plows ahead. First down yardage in the Eau Claire territory, brought down at the 48-yard line.
And what you love to see there, went right to his offensive lineman, put his hand in his back and say, hey, big fella, here's where I want to go. That defender, or excuse me, that offensive lineman was Nathan Carpenter. Just kind of pushed him ahead, said, this is where I need to go, and look at it, turned out into a first down. Really nice, patient running there.
Handoff, no, Shramsky's going to keep it, and he's got some running room.
A lot of it.
Shramsky into the open. And the senior's going to go for a touchdown. 48 yards, no flags.
And once again, Lacrosse making the big play. Great job with the play fake. Fooled us right away. And you can see it right here. Pulls that ball out. Everyone bought on the running back, and when that happened, there was no one to account for the quarterback. Shramsky, we've seen him do it with his legs in opening up in the passing game. Does it with his legs in the running game right here. Huge 48-yard touchdown for Lacrosse, who is now up by 5 scores in this game.
Ryan Byrne to add the point after the long run by Shramsky, and it is good. 35-0, 11:45 to go, third quarter. We'll be right back. Scott Emmerich, Stephen Kelly back here at Carson Park in Eau Claire as you look at Ben Shramsky, the replay of his 48-yard touchdown run to give the Eagles a 35-0 lead.
Another great play design there. Schmidt talked about it at halftime. Wants to win with some style points and did exactly that to open up on their first drive of the third quarter. Eau Claire really needs to put together a nice drive, not even just to win the game, but just to get some momentum.
Antoine Moore from his 15. And brought down by Zach Pierce after a short return of 8 yards.
On the play by number 37 of Lacrosse.
And really, if you're head coach Dan Larson, you just want a few feel-good moments for your squad. Finish off this game.
I thought he was very diplomatic at halftime when in speaking to us, say, hey, there's a lot of plays that we could have made that we just didn't. But wanted to stick with the guys that got him to this point. A lot of times in the last game of the season, you say, maybe we'll give our young guys a chance to shine on a big game. But he wants to send out those seniors right, and those seniors that have stuck with the program through a couple of winless seasons.
Kulag on the handoff. And a nice gain of 7 yards for Brian Kulaga, who otherwise has been held in check. League's second leading rusher.
That was sprung by Brandon Keeley, the wide receiver on the outside. Really nice job of holding up his defender and allowing Kulaga to get a couple extra yards.
Second and 3. Kulaga again. Knocked out of bounds at the 32-yard line by Elijah McGean. Blugolds wanted a flag there on the near sideline. Thought maybe there was a late hit.
Yeah, those referees on that sideline are not getting plenty of the Blugolds coaches in their ear all game, really, but especially with that play because the coaches are right on top of it.
And just short of the first down, so it's 3rd and 1 now.
They are going to move the chains, it looks like.
Oh, you're right. Just as I mentioned that, it's a first down. Yeah, Dan Larson right there in the linesman's ear. Kulaga again. This time had some open running room. Kulaga up to the 43-yard line. And again, a gain of 10 and another first down for the Blugolds.
And that's the Blugolds rushing attack we've seen this year. And I think the problem in this game is they're getting hit too far behind the line. But if you give Kulaga 3 yards to get ahead of steam going, look out, because the guy can run in really a punishing run.
Well, I was intrigued by how the Blugolds beat Oshkosh. There were a lot of long play scoring drives, but not long in distance. They had one scoring drive of 40 yards, but it took 15 plays and ate up 9 minutes of the clock. That's kind of how they roll. Proctor in trouble. Tosses. And
nice,
it is
done. See what they call? Yep.
It's a completion. Antoine Moore had 1 foot in bounds. There is a flag on the play at the 36-yard line.
And we had a really good view right here. Pierce got it looked like he tapped that toe down right before he went out of bounds. Really nice job there by number 25.
Going to be some sort of interference or holding, I'm guessing. So that one's on Colton Neiman. So the clock. So the Blugolds will take the play and the gain. 1st and 10 at the 36.
And I think what was important to note here is Proctor just bought enough time with his feet to allow him to get open. Really nice catch here on the sideline for the first down.
Oh, he did. He had that toe down just as he caught it. Well done by Antoine Moore. His 20th catch of the year. Proctor keeping it this time, taking advantage, and Flathers tracks him down, but not after another gain of 10 yards.
And finally, the Blugolds offense starting to get those chunk plays, 8, 9 yards a pop. They got the momentum going right now downhill, but when they've had the momentum in the first half, not able to capitalize. So see what they can do here.
Proctor keeps it again. Same play, and another gain, this time 7 yards, and a late flag comes in, and we'll see what this is all about.
Yeah, and you can see Evan saying that one's on, or excuse me, Moore is saying that one's on me, guys.
We'll see if it's a holding call, as you say, Stephen. I trust your young eyes.
Not as young as it used to be. We'll see if I'm right here. I'll tell you what, though, Flathers is not biting on these play fakes. He's sticking with the quarterback just about every play.
During the run, personal foul face mask, 13 on the offense. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Replay first down.
All right, so the gain will count, the 8-yard run, and they'll move it back 15 yards from that spot. The face mask penalty on Le'Shawn Evans. So it moves the ball back to the 33-yard line. Let's call it a 1st and 17.
And once again, the Blugolds get within scoring range and just make some kind of mistake that says
Kulaga keeps this time. Stacked up nicely by the Eagle defense. Abitz is in there along with Rusty Murphy.
With how much La Crosse is showing that blitz, you wonder if Eau Claire's going to go to a hard count here or try to get them to show a little bit more, because I think if Eau Claire had been able to switch out of that play, it could have been a big gainer behind it if you could do a short or quick pass. But as you know, it's tough to run right into a blitz.
Second and 16 now from the 31. Straight back Proctor. Crossing pattern. Ty McLaughlin has it and brought down immediately by Elijah McGeehan at the 22. A nice gain of about 10 yards. It'll set up a manageable 3rd and 7. And you got to figure with the way the score is and where they are with field position, everything is 4-down territory.
Yeah, McLaughlin, well known to people here in Eau Claire. 3-year starter at Eau Claire Memorial. He's played all 4 years here at UW-Eau Claire. Really nice tight end, and nice job getting that catch there.
His 7th catch of the season.
And it sets up a 3rd and manageable where you had a 1st and 13 to start out. So nice job by Eau Claire.
Keep an eye on the lower right part of your screen. Number 13 on number 13. Evans on Neiman. They've been battling all day.
Neiman with the blitz.
And the blitz coming in. Neiman knocked it away. So Neiman gave up his coverage that time on Evans and knocked away the 3rd down pass. So it's 4th down. And of course the Blugolds will go for it, down 35-0 with 7:49 to go in the 3rd quarter.
You figure at this point, Coach Larson's going to be drawing up his very best play, knowing what this means just for momentum and well, really confidence on the sideline.
So here it is, 4th down. I'm sorry, Stephen.
No, I was just going to say an extra defensive back on for La Crosse.
They need to get to the 16-yard line. Proctor, Kulaga, can he get there? And he does. 1st down, Blugolds on 4th and 6. Kulaga got 7.
You can see the man coverage setting up there. They didn't have anyone to account for the running back straight out of the backfield, and Kulaga ran hard right to the sticks. Nice catch. He gets just enough yardage for that 1st down.
Now the Blugolds in the red zone again. This has been a trouble area for Eau Claire today. Kulaga straight up the middle for about 3. McGeehan and Zilmer combine on the tackle.
And that's what we were talking about before with Kulaga. When he had those couple of nice big runs in a row, he was able to get past that initial line of scrimmage. Again, on this one, hit right as he gets into the line, only able to manage 3 yards.
Clock running, just over 7 minutes to go, third quarter.
And it's important to note with that 35-0 lead, we do have that running clock going right now.
Blitz coming for the Eagles again. Proctor in trouble, and down he goes. Zach Zilmer and Colton Neiman combine on the sack.
And when you have them coming in that fast, you maybe get to see your first option, but probably don't get to the second or third. And if that first guy's not open, again, Proctor just kind of has to brace himself.
Zilmer came into this game with 4.5 sacks. He was huge at the end of the game against Platteville a couple of weeks ago. He had 3 sacks in the fourth quarter to help preserve that win for the Eagles. All right, 3rd and 12.
Crosse showed blitz. Looks like they might have come across, though. Let's see what the call is.
That's going to be on Zach Abitz.
Yep, lineman calling offsides.
Well, we talked about how both these
Offsides.
teams...
94 in the defense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Both these teams love to get after the passer.
That's a nice break again for Eau Claire. Went from 3rd and very long to 3rd and 8, which isn't great, but it's still a lot better than 3rd and 13. Once again, it looks like we have a nice outside matchup, 13 on 13. Scott's favorite.
3rd and 8. Proctor looking for Evans in the bend zone. Almost came up with it on the back shoulder. Incomplete. It'll be 4th down.
You know what? He made a perfect adjustment. Just couldn't get the ball, but that's exactly where the ball needed to be, away from the defender, and just couldn't quite catch it. But really nice play overall. Just wish they could have executed.
Brad Gage on to attempt a field goal. He's had an outstanding year, 8 for 10 this season. Coach Larson just looking for any sort of points and some momentum. This is a 30-yarder. And it is good. And now a late flag comes in here, and we'll see what this is all about.
Yeah, we have an Eau Claire lineman coming up slow here.
And if this is a penalty on the Eagles, a personal foul, it might keep the drive alive and send the offense back out there. And now it looks like they're talking to head coach Dan Larson.
And the offense coming back on the field.
Personal foul, leaping, number 13 on the defense. After distance to the goal, this also carries an automatic 1st down.
Second time, Scott, we've seen that penalty called, and both times costly. Remember, they had the blocked kick or blocked punt earlier, and now it gives them a 1st and goal right here about the 6 or 7 yard line.
I'll tell you what, La Crosse's special teams has been outstanding all year long, but a couple of special teams mistakes here today have kept Blue Gold drives alive. Eau Claire wasn't able to capitalize on the last mistake by the special teams. We'll see if they can here with the 1st and goal at the 6, and now another flag and a false start. And again, issues inside
False
the
start.
red zone for Eau Claire.
13 on the offense, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
Now, right before the half, they had 2 such penalties, another one here, and that's just hurting yourself. Self-inflicted wounds against Eau Claire again today.
Yeah, if you've just joined us, Scott Proctor fumbled at the 1 yard line into the end zone as he was going in for a touchdown. The Eagles recovered earlier. Then in another drive, Proctor threw an interception on a pass that went through the hands of Brian Kulaga inside the 20-yard line. Here's Proctor to the end zone looking for Evans, and he overshoots him, incomplete.
Yeah, those two are just hand fighting all day. I mean, you really can't call it either way because they're both doing it, but that one just a little overthrown.
Generally in that case, the officials are looking to see if either player gained an advantage while they're hand fighting. As you get a look at the fans in attendance at Carson Park, all bundled up on this 22-degree day here in western Wisconsin. Colder than normal, to say the least, even for this time of year.
And we are expecting a possibility of some snow flurries here as this game continues. So we need to bump that.
Kulaga, and brought down in the backfield. It's Abitz.
Really nice job coming from his defensive end position to come down the line and make that play.
Believe it or not, Stephen, a couple of years ago, actually 4 years ago, back in 2014, we came up here to do this game. It was even colder, 13 degrees with snow flurries.
You'll remember I was on the sideline.
I do remember
well.
now, yes.
About a foot of snow right on top of my head.
3rd and goal. Proctor has Lockman. Lockman can't slip away, and he goes down at the 5-yard line. Lockman with his 2nd catch of the day.
And we got an offensive lineman down for Eau Claire.
That's Nick Burton, sophomore. Here's another look.
And you can tell what La Crosse is doing here on defense. They gave them the space they needed, but they were not allowing them to get into the end zone. Let them catch it at the 6. Gang tackle from there. Nicely done, and we'll see. Looks like the Eau Claire's offense is going to stay on. We saw them kick the field goal last time. This one a little bit closer, and they're going to go for it.
All right, 4th and goal for the Blugolds.
4th down and goal for the Blugolds at the La Crosse 5.
Jake Borchardt is checked in for Eau Claire. Wearing number 46. Ty McLaughlin in there, getting kind of a more power formation here. Proctor alone in the backfield on 4th and goal. Proctor rolling, in trouble, throws it away. Another red zone stop for the Eagle defense. And the shutout intact. 35-0, Eagles leading the Blugolds, 4:19 to go, 3rd quarter. We'll be right back.
The Chipotle cheesesteak is available for a limited time only at participating.
Scott Emmerich and Stephen Kelly back at Carson Park. Another red zone stop for the Eagles, and they'll take over 1st and 10 on their own 5-yard line.
Scott, you'll notice that the players and staff for UW-Eau Claire are wearing green today. That is in memory of 4 people who were killed in a really tragic accident last weekend. A Girl Scout troop was cleaning up on the side of the highway and hit, and 4 people were killed, and there's still 1 in the hospital. So Blugolds honoring them tonight by wearing green.
A real tragic event here in western Wisconsin, and when it happens in western Wisconsin, the entire state of Wisconsin feels the pain, and so very heartfelt condolences to those families. Mankuski picked up 5 on 1st down.
2nd down and 5 for La Crosse in the 10.
Blugolds playing off coverage, not wanting to give up a big play here on the outside.
Mankuski again scoots up for 2.
Austin McCuskey on the carry, tackle by 32, Sam Romanski. 3rd
Well,
down.
Mike Schmidt, as you interviewed him at halftime, said he wanted to keep it going, pedal to the metal here. We'll see how much he's willing to gamble here on 3rd and 3 from his own 12-yard line.
Well, as we've seen from La Crosse all day, though, it only takes 1 play for them to spring one. I think all their touchdowns but 1 has been a very long one, so let's see what they got here. And again, Eau Claire playing off coverage.
Mankuski with a handoff. Just gets across the 15-yard line and just enough for the 1st down.
Good power running there. Nice job by that right side of the line. We brought it up earlier. That's the younger side, but they make the plays they needed to make.
Mankuski had that long touchdown run in the 1st half, 56 yards. He's up to 76 yards on 7 carries so far today. Shramsky not looking deep. They want more. He's got Cole Speaker down to the 47-yard line of Eau Claire.
And that's just a guy who knows exactly what he can do. Great body control, adjusting the play. We do have a flag on this one, so we'll see what the call is there. It's back closer to the line of scrimmage.
Well, so there's some. Here's another look at it while the officials sort this out.
And just great adjustment to the ball. Those are tough catches to make. Looks like the La Crosse offense is moving
sideline interference on La Crosse number 5. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down, Lacrosse.
Well, Scott, they paint that big white area for a reason. You're supposed to stay behind it, give the referees room to run, the sticks room to move, and it'll cost them 15 yards, but doesn't take away that big play.
On number 5, that's Jack Dwyer. He's one of the backup quarterbacks who signals in the plays on the sidelines. You can see him there at the top of your screen. I imagine Jack Dwyer didn't figure he'd get his name called for sideline interference in a game that is a chance of not even playing it. So
it's not the "Hey Mom, I'm on TV" moment you were looking for.
So the gain of 38 and minus 15 yards. It's still first down Lacrosse, and Mankuski with 2 hands on the ball plows ahead for a gain of 4.
Outstanding block there by number 45. Listed as Krieger in your roster, but told that's not his name, so we're trying to still figure that one out. But nice job, and again, they had the option. Shramsky could have pulled that out, and I think we might see that again still in this game. They got the nice gain of 4 yards on that play.
Second and 6. Stutzman runs right into some blue gold defenders. Well done that time. Trevor Nelson, one of those defenders, and Victor Martinelli as well.
Victor Martinelli's been rotating in that middle linebacker spot. Diagnosed that play right from the get-go and ran downhill. Nice job by him.
So a third down now. Third and about 5.
You can see Speaker bringing the safety not just over to his side, but right on top of him. They're not going to let him beat him deep again. Although best laid plans here.
Shramsky looking for the quick hitter. Lavalarte with some room. Lavalarte down to the 40 of Eau Claire. A pickup of 16 yards and a first down.
Yeah, and it's not just the catch here, but it's the run after the catch. Good job of knowing where the defender was on this play. Accurate ball thrown, and then instead of continue to take it inside, spun it back outside. It's where the defenders were not. It's where he went. Turns into a first down.
And the drive stays alive as we approach 30 seconds till the end of the third quarter.
Single coverage on Speaker.
Speaker in motion. They fake the handoff to him, and now a whistle and a flag.
It's interesting to watch the little chess match going on between the offense and defense and how they're trying to bracket him throughout the game.
False start, 84, offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Zach McManus, the tight end, whistled for that one. Sets up a 1st and 15. Penalties, kind of a minor bugaboo for the Eagles. 7 penalties for 80 yards, so far today. And now the clock will run down, and that'll be the end of the third quarter. Eagles adding to their lead in that third quarter with a touchdown, 35-0. We'll be right back. Well, it's been the big play strike offense of UW-La Crosse. Of their 5 touchdowns, they have a 56-yard run, a 46-yard pass, a 66-yard pass, and a 48-yard touchdown run. Austin Mankuski on the first play of the fourth quarter.
You know, Scott, there's a couple stats to kind of tell a story, and obviously the long plays. You look at it, Eau Claire and La Crosse for first downs, just separated by 2, and Eau Claire's matching them there, but where the separation has been, where you can kind of see the game trending, is in third down efficiency. Eau Claire just 1 of 12 in the game, while La Crosse 6 of 9 for 67%. Keeping those drives going, the difference right now.
2nd and 12. Shramsky looking deep. Incomplete. Excellent coverage on the far side of the field by Jordan Wallen.
Yeah, Wallen did just a nice job of keeping stride for stride. Didn't try to get his hands on the defender, just stood in, or tried to stand in front of him, and wasn't able to make the adjustment to make the catch.
Michael Marchese was the intended receiver on that play. And now a 3rd and long.
This is a situation La Crosse hasn't been in too often in this game.
Michael Marquez.
Speaker in motion. They fake the handoff to him. Shremsky rolling and then throws incomplete. So 4th down from the Eau Claire 42-yard line, and we'll see if Mike Schmidt elects to punt here, and yes, he will.
Shremsky rolling to his left, which is always tough to do as a quarterback to begin with, but then threw that one off his back foot as well. Not a complete surprise that it sailed on in the end.
Sean Parker back in punt formation.
Cam Swanson standing back at his own 7-yard line. Sean Parker will kick. The Blue Gold player may have jumped off sides.
Have a flag down.
Parker angling this one, scooped up by Swanson. And he may have signaled for a fair catch before he scooped it up, which is why it was blown dead. We'll see what the flags are all about here.
Yeah, flag on the far side
At the
of the
11-yard line. Runner was down.
Definitely an offsides on Eau Claire.
But if you're a Lacrosse, that was a pretty good punt and pinned them back, so you'll see what they want to do here. If they want to keep that extra 5 yards or give it, or not take this penalty.
There's a penalty flag on the field.
I think the PA announcer's trying to steal my thunder.
That's Dave Hansen. He's actually in the Blugolds Hall of Fame. He's been working here for many, many decades.
So it looks like the Blugolds will keep possession. There won't be a re-kick.
And important for Eau Claire, we do see Nick Burton
Offsides,
back on the field.
Number 1 on the defense. 5 yards will be at the end of the run, 1st down.
And you'll remember Burton went off the field last time that the Blugolds were in the red zone. Good to see him back out there.
The Blugolds will take over from their own 6-yard line. Been tough sledding for this crew. Eau Claire, impressive wins this year over Platteville, over 12th ranked Oshkosh, showing that this program is on the rise. But the Eagles with a lot to play for here today, possible playoff berth once again, and a chance to lock down 2nd place in the conference, which would be a huge thing for Mike Schmidt and his program as well.
Dan Larson will tell you they've been in every game except for 2 this season. The Blugolds have been a very tough out. This game going to add to that other side of the stat, but they've been playing with teams, and that's a good sign for a team that's trying to really go through a rebuild.
From the 6-yard line. Kulaga with the handoff and some running room and 1st down yardage out to the 17-yard line. Well done by Brian Kulaga.
Once again, he got ahead of his team. He got past that 1st level, and he's pretty dangerous when he gets in the 2nd. And you can see it right here, Scott. Really nice pull block to lead him out in front. Backside, had the guard get out of the linebacker.
Ben Peterson leading the way on that run for Kulaga, which gained a 1st down. Proctor keeps it himself, and he is buried at the line of scrimmage. Zach Baudry, wearing number 97, making the tackle.
I'll tell you, we don't get defensive linemen don't get oftentimes where the running back runs right into them, but he was ready for it. Nice play by him. A little couple extra dance moves right afterwards.
No gain on the play, 2nd and 10.
Scott, look again where those safeties are. Just continue to inch up.
Now they are challenging. They're just daring the Blugolds to throw deep. Kulaga. Rusty Murphy waiting for him, and it's a loss of 1.
And really, I mean, it's tough to run against the young people. There's not a lot of running there. It'll be interesting to see how Eau Claire counters that.
So it's 3rd and 11 now. 3rd downs have been an issue for the Blugolds. Just 1 of 12 so far on 3rd downs for this Blugold offense. Blugolds rush 5. Pass is caught by Moore, but brought down immediately. short of the first down. Kyle Cable making the tackle.
It looks like we have an injury to Scott Proctor. He is still down at the 6-yard line. Took a really big hit there right at the end of that play.
Well, Proctor rolling around down there. The backup is Jonathan Malik. He wears number 14. Proctor, senior, playing in his last game. And boy, I tell you what, when I talked to Coach Dan Larson, he had a lot of great things to say about Scott Proctor. You know, Coach Larson said, we brought in a bunch of freshmen, and we told Scott Proctor, I said, the job is not yours. You need to earn it in training camp. And he went out and he earned it. And he has been a great leader for the Blugolds this year. We're going to take a timeout and step aside. Eagles up 35-0. We'll be back. Scott Emmerich and Stephen Kelly back here at Carson Park, and Scott Proctor has just gotten up on his feet, and he is walking off very gingerly, the senior quarterback in his last game. And you can see the Blue Gold players coming over on the sideline, checking in on their senior leader.
If he cannot go, Scott Malik will be in. He's a freshman and one of a number of freshman quarterbacks that the Blue Golds have this year. 1 for 5 on the season for just 8 yards, but obviously has not played very often. We'll have to see what kind of offensive game plan they have for him if Proctor cannot go.
4th down, so Gage is in the punt. This is a short one that Simonchek will let bounce, and it goes out of bounds. It'll be La Crosse football at their own 42-yard line. So that brings up sort of an interesting scenario here, Stephen, with the talk of the Eagles maybe getting into the playoffs if they win, and maybe win impressively. You know, I mentioned earlier they're keeping a kind of an eye on the scoreboard too for some other games around the nation. Games in the conference will not affect the Eagles' status regionally, but there are a couple of games, Linfield, Oregon, Center, Kentucky. They're keeping an eye on those as well. Hand off up the middle to Mankuski.
Yeah, and you know, we heard the coach's comments coming out of the half, but you don't really expect a team to hold up in a rivalry game anyways. Give the Blue Golds credit, have limited them to only 1 touchdown so far, but as we've seen, this is a very explosive offense, and it just takes one play for the Eagles to get on the board.
Second and 4, Mankuski again. Up ahead to the 49, just short of the first down. It'll be a 3rd and 1.
Nice play there. Almost leapt over a defender, found a little alley to fall forward, and pulls him within just a yard of that first down marker.
3rd down and 1.
And Mankuski gets the handoff again. Can't quite spin away. He's tackled for a loss. Let's see who got in there. Charlie Brookshaw was in there.
I think the first guy there, though, was Sam Bookberger.
Yeah.
Just flew from that linebacker position.
4th down.
Boy, ball at the 49, just over that 50 would be an interesting call if they went for it. They're going to end up punting.
Sean Parker back in the punt. Then Cam Swanson. Back deep to return, standing on his own 10-yard line. Low liner from Parker. Swanson calls for a fair catch at the 17-yard line. 1st and 10, Eau Claire. We're going to take a timeout. 10:19 to go, 4th quarter. Eagles leading 35-0. Back here at Carson Park on a chilly November afternoon, a Veterans Day weekend, and I want to wish all of the veterans out there watching a very special Veterans Day weekend. We certainly appreciate your service, and a special thank you to my stepfather, David Wemman, down watching in Florida. And I know this is an important weekend for many of us across the nation.
Jonathan Malik now the quarterback for the Blugolds.
Jonathan Malik now at quarterback, and on the read option, the handoff And again, a loss on the play. Kulaga.
End of the last drive, Scott Proctor on third down completed the pass but took a really tough hit to the knee. He is now up and throwing on the sideline, trying to work that knee out. We'll have to see, but for right now, it's Malik's game. As we said, 1 of 5 for 8 yards on the season. He's a freshman, not very experienced, but this is a good chance to gain some experience as the Blugolds end out their season.
So here's Malik on 2nd and 13. Malik looking deep for Sean Evans, and he's got it at the 50-yard line.
We got to update those stats, Scott, because that was a really nice ball. Obviously his career long at this point. And just look how he dropped it in there. Let the wide receiver run underneath and make the play. Put air on it, over top of the defender. Really nicely done there by the freshman.
It's the first time we've seen them attack the middle of the field deep all game long.
And they've been daring the Blugolds to do that, to bringing those safeties up. And you can already see on this play, 2 yards back for those safeties that were right up the 8-yard line.
Kulaga up the middle. A gain of 3. Baudry with the tackle.
And maybe it's just youth, but a little enthusiasm after that big play on the Blugolds sideline.
Second and 7. Just under 9 minutes to go. Malik, quick hitter for Lockman. Couldn't quite come up with it on the quick slant, and I think that's one he wish he would have back.
Good play design, though. Evans actually running a straight seam, so he takes that defender out of that area. Then you have the wide receiver come in behind it. Try to throw to a spot, a little off the mark there, but Alan Bunker almost made that play. Excuse me, Brad Lockman.
3rd and 7. League maybe changing the play at the line of scrimmage, perhaps pointing out a blitz. Eagles, they rush 6. Quick hitter to Sean Evans, is over his head. And again, Colton Neiman on the corner blitz, wreaking havoc for that Eagle defense.
It was the right read from Malik. He saw that the corner was going to blitz. He threw to where the blitzer was coming from, just didn't execute. Ball flew on him.
4th down, 7, and Eau Claire will go for it. Trailing 35-0, why not? Season finale. The league has Kulaga lined up to his right. The league over the middle for Evans, overshoots him, incomplete, and the Eagles will take over on their own 46-yard line. We'll take a timeout, 8:33 to go. Eagles up 35-0. First and 10, UW-Eau from their own 46-yard line. And off to Mankuski up the middle. Mankuski into Eau Claire territory. Inside the 30 and down to the 23-yard line. A pickup of 30 yards, and with that run, Austin Mankuski goes over 100 yards rushing for the game.
Little run of stop and go, letting his blockers get in front of him, hitting the burst when he needs to get into the open field. Once again, look here, lets his blocker get in front of him and gets an extra 7 yards because of it.
Here's Mankuski again on first down. A nice pickup of 6 into the red zone, down to the 18-yard line.
Got that nice high running style, falls forward almost every time. Nice running back. I know they said that they've struggled in the last couple of weeks, but the running game looks good right now.
Second and 5 now, and the running game has been a friend to the Eagles today. The Eagles haven't been able to generate much of a rushing game all season long, but today doing quite well.
And it really starts on the offensive line, getting those seal blocks to spring them on the edge. You can tell even right there. Just got far enough up to positive run and keeps the clock moving.
Number 4, Austin McCuskey on the carry, tackle by
McCuskey with another gain of 4, setting up a 3rd and 2. 238 yards rushing for the Eagles so far today.
And it's not all just those big touchdown runs either. They're able to get the chunk yardage as well. Although a couple 40-yard runs here.
Yes, a 56-yarder for a touchdown. That'll help the old average. 3rd and 2. And Kuski probing his way, or a near first down yardage, and he will have it down at the 12-yard line. 1st and 10 Eagles at the Eau Claire 12.
Once again, not in a hurry to run downhill. Lets those blocks develop. Gets just enough for the first down to keep this drive alive.
Now Shramsky pauses, looks over to the sideline. And Kuski tries the wide side of the field, stacked up nicely that time by the Blugolds. Sam Brzezinski coming up from his safety position to help the run defense.
And it's got those. The sun is going down, and look at that. Beautiful night at Carson Park for some football. There's some snow at the end of the end zone, but the playing field itself very clear.
Yeah, hats off to the crew here at Carson Park for clearing the field after the snow from overnight. Terrific playing conditions considering the weather and how cold it is. Second and 8. Quick slant, it is caught, and a touchdown! Joshua Ray.
I'll tell you, Lacrosse lulling them to sleep. Run, run, run. Finally able to hit the slant here, and when they pull that ball out, and a really accurate throw over the middle allowed his receiver to run. Gets just into the end zone for the score.
Oh, look at Joshua Ray. Almost lost it as he caught it on the contact. Was able to reel it back in and score. Another touchdown pass for Ben Shramsky. It's been a big play offense all game long as Ryan Byrne adds the point after, and the Eagles extending their lead 42-0 with 5 minutes and 12 seconds to go. You know, I was talking about the playoffs earlier, Steven, and I just want to break it down for fans a little bit here. 32 teams make the playoffs in NCAA Division III. There are 26 automatic qualifiers, and then there's one spot reserved for a school that is not affiliated with a conference. So that leaves 5 at-large berths nationwide, and they don't necessarily have to come from different regions. They could come from anywhere around the nation. So it's good for the Eagles not just to win, get a few style points here. They have a few things working in their favor. They have a road win at Illinois Wesleyan, which is ranked 17th in the nation. One thing Mike Schmidt did this year, he made it a point of kind of strengthening the non-conference schedule. And so they played Illinois Wesleyan, who's been a ranked team all year long, and they beat them on the road. They played Dickinson State, which is a very good NAIA team, a team that has been ranked, lost to them, one of their 3 losses this year. But it was a point of emphasis to strengthen their schedule, so maybe they could get into a situation like they are now, and that would help them, because last year when they finished 8-2, one of the negatives for the Eagles was their non-conference schedule was kind of weak.
Yeah, and I think that everyone knows that WIAC is as good as it is. You've seen Oshkosh or Whitewater in the playoffs, or even in the title game every single year. And so you know whoever comes out of this conference with a winning record, a very good record, is a very good team, but you only solidify that resume when you do play good non-conference opponents as well. It's something Eau Claire has also been doing in the past couple of years, playing a team like St. Thomas this season as well.
And then there's also the thing, too, you know the WXOW is well respected nationwide as one of the toughest conferences in the nation, and do you leave the second place team at home out of the playoffs even if they have 3 losses? Here comes a blitz.
It's important.
And Proctor's back in, and he almost got annihilated. Rusty Murphy went straight for the running back.
There was no good choices on that run option. Running back got hit right away, as did Proctor. Really solid job by the defense. Gerald Childs, the running back, number 27 in, also a senior. And you can see it right here as we show you the replay. If he gives the ball away, there's going to be a big hit. If he keeps it, there's going to be a big hit. Just Eagles defense swarming right now.
Murphy timed that out perfectly. Now Childs gets the handoff. Has some running room there, bouncing off a tackler, and a nice gain of 9 yards.
And there's going to be a personal foul penalty after this play, but we talk about those seniors sticking with the program, and Childs was a starter, or at least a co-op starter for the first 2 years of his career. Kind of fell out of favor in the last year or so, but he stuck with the program, and it's good to see him getting some playing time here at the end.
A lot of extracurricular stuff at the end of that play between Ben Wolf and Elijah McGann.
And as often is the case in these type of plays, it was the guy who threw the last one. It'd be surprising.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 40 on the defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. That's number 40's first unsportsmanlike conduct penalty.
And I was about to say, it's the guy who threw the last one, and Wolf was on his back, and McGeehan kind of gave him an extra little shove as he got up, and that's what the referee saw.
So that moves the ball all the way into UW-La Crosse territory. First down, Blugolds from the 48-yard line. We'll read option, it's Childs again. Straight up the middle. Picks up about 4. It's interesting. It's 42-0, Steven. And those comments, I keep going back to those that Mike Schmidt said at halftime about keeping going after it, pedal to the metal. We want to annihilate these guys. He has most of his starters still in the game.
You know what? I'll tell you what. Both coaches have done exactly what they said they were going to do. And Eau Claire has not gone away from what they've done all season, what has gotten them there. Continuing with that rushing attack, knowing at this point you're probably not going to come out with a win, but you're staying true to who you are, and it's good to see some of those seniors getting some extra playing time.
Schumann takes down Childs after a short gain.
Third down and 4 from Blugolds at the 42.
3rd and 5. Childs trying to get the corner, cuts it back up, met by a host of Eagles, and he falls forward just a bit short of the first down. Joey Boldo made the tackle. It's going to be a 4th and 1. Good hard running by Childs.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to imagine that he's hoping he can get that 1 extra yard and keep this drive going. The blocks were there. Childs stayed up a little more than he had to. I think if he would have dove, he could have got that first down, but really close.
Proctor on the out pattern to Lockman. Short gain, but enough for the first down, so the drive continues for the Blugolds down to the 35-yard line of La Crosse with 2:42 to go. Here's another look. Nice little pitch and catch for the first down on 4th and 2. Stephen Kelly making his way down to the field, where we will visit with Mike Schmidt after the game. Childs with a gain of 2. I'll tell you what, for 42-0, it's quite spirited out there on the field. A lot of chatter between these two teams. Proctor on the quick out to Lockman, incomplete.
That's intended for number 80, Brad Lockman, incomplete.
3rd down.
3rd down.
Blugolds trying to keep the drive alive, looking for their first points of the game with 2:06 to go. Trying to get a little something positive before they close this one out. Scott Proctor today, 9 of 20 for 123 yards. Good to see him back on the field after he went down with a knee injury a short while ago. Proctor looking deep, looking for Evans, and he's got it at the 5-yard line. A terrific catch by LeSean Evans on Colton Heeman that time, so the Blugolds will take it first and goal at the 6-yard line. Here's another look. These two hooked up back in the first half, and now here again, down at the 6. You see Evans had a knee on the ground when he caught it, down immediately. First and goal from the 6-yard line. Childs up the middle, wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage.
Ariel Childs on the carry.
Rusty Murphy in there.
Tackle the play was by 46, Ryan Flathers. Second down and goal.
Second and goal now. Childs with a handoff, lot of running room. Brought down at the 1. It's going to be third and goal.
Ball at the 1. Third and goal.
Let's see if they call Proctor's number here with just over a minute to go. Send the senior out in style. It's Childs. Ball comes loose. Eagles have it. And if that play doesn't sum up the day, I don't know what does for Eau Claire. My goodness, another red zone turnover. Fumble recovered by the Eagles. Josiah Gerlitz on the fumble recovery after the hit at the goal line. And the Blugolds, who have been in the red zone a couple of times today, only to turn it over. Scott Proctor fumbled at the 1-yard line. It went into the end zone. An interception inside the 20-yard line as well for the Eagles. And now here, the Blugolds knocking on the door once again. And a big-time hit with the ball squirting loose. And now a timeout as the Eagles have some personnel issues. 53 seconds to go, both teams with all their timeouts. And we'll just see if the Eagles just kind of hand her off here and kind of run out the clock. Stephen Kelly making his way down on the field where he'll talk with the winning head coach, Mike Schmidt. It's been a banner day for the Eagles, especially on offense. They've been able to run the ball efficiently and combine that with their big strike ability as well. 475 total yards of offense for the Eagles, 245 on the ground, 230 through the air. Terrific balance for UW-Eau today. And then, of course, the red zone stops on defense. The Eagle defense holding the Blugolds just 2 of 17 on third downs. 53 seconds to go in this one. The Eagles are going to win it. They're going to finish their season at 7-3. And they hand off up the middle, and Mankuski fighting his way for a few extra yards. Mankuski has had a terrific day for the Eagles as well. 18 carries, 139 yards for Austin Mankuski, a senior, closing out his career perhaps with a huge game. And now the play clock and the game clock are virtually the same, and this may be it. Last play of the game, UW-Eau, well, it's going to be wait and see tomorrow at 4:30. The pairings will be released, and the Eagles will be crossing their fingers for the second year in a row to see if they can get into the postseason. They didn't quite make it last year, but they're hoping for one of those 5 at-large berths. Final score from Carson Park, UW-La Crosse 42, Eau Claire 40. Players making their way out onto the field right now.
Congratulations to our seniors for their hard work.
And Stephen Kelly will try to track down Mike Schmidt.
Thank you again to our hometown heroes for joining us today. Your service is greatly appreciated. Thanks also to all the kids joining us for Youth Day. Thank you.
Meanwhile, for Eau Claire, they'll finish the season at 4-6. A lot to hang their hat on this year as well. Wins over Platteville and Oshkosh, two of the top teams in the WIAC. They picked up big wins there, so Coach Dan Larson will have a lot of positive things he'll be able to take into the offseason as well. So we'll see. Stephen Kelly and Mike Schmidt tracking him down. And we'll check in with him any moment now. All right, Stephen Kelly down on the field with UW-Eau head coach Mike Schmidt. Stephen, take it away.
All right, thanks, Scott. And Coach, kind of talked about it at halftime. You had a game plan coming into this game. It was about big plays. It was about limiting Eau Claire's time of possession. Kind of kept a script.
Yeah, I mean, and then they go 0 for 4 in the red zone, and we get those turnovers, and what a great job by our defense playing like that. And, our offense did exactly kind of what we've been, some big plays, and they did a good job defensively, to get us off the field, but great job by our defense there, especially at the end. That's an awesome way to put a nice cap on the year.
All 3 times that the Eau Claire got within that red zone, right on the goal line, you're able to force turnovers. Kind of gives you a little bit of momentum throughout the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, whenever you can do that and hold, we let them down in there, and we kind of talked about that all week is let's make them kick field goals. Let's play our butts off down there. I thought we had a good field goal block up, and then we get a penalty on it. Boy, the defense just really came to play down there, and that's just then we get the ball back to our offense and can get some big plays. So great job by our guys.
Now, if this is your last game, it'll be a very good one, 42-0, but you're hoping that it's not. You want to make your pitch to the NCAA selection committee that you deserve to be in the field?
I mean, this is the second straight year that we're playing as well as anybody at the end of the year. What we did last week and even the week before that to Platteville, and then going in a game like this and play this way. We're playing as well as anybody is out there, just like we were last year. I don't know that anybody really wants to play us right now at the end of the year, and that's a testament to our guys. They just continue to grind and play really well at the end of the year, and, those guys took to heart. We heard some things from the other side over here about mocking our stuff, and our guys really took it to heart, and they just play and have everybody's back, and I don't know that anybody really wants to play us out there right now.
All right, Coach Smith, thank you very much. We'll find out tomorrow at 4:30 if you made it in the field. We're going to send it to break right now. Thanks for...
UW-La Crosse dominating start to finish, 42-0 over the Eau Claire Blugolds, and now they'll wait and see tomorrow if they can sneak into the Division III National Playoffs. A special thank you to Stephen Kelly and a huge shout out to our director Mitch Motes and his outstanding crew today, braving the elements, 22 degrees all day, and they were out there and did an outstanding job. So a special thanks to our camera people and all the folks who especially worked outside today here at Carson Park. You're getting a look at some of the highlights from today's game. UWL a winner, 42-0 over the Blugolds. For Stephen Kelly, I'm Scott Emmerich. That'll do it from Carson Park. Enjoy your college football Saturday.